You're just moments away from a brand new episode of WTF Nations Radio's Pop Culture Warrior, hosted by the dynamic duo CQ and Radar. Pop Culture Warrior is your number one source for all things entertainment. If it's happening in TV, movies, video games, or comedy, they're all over it. And don't forget to say hi in the comments below. And while you're at it, let the boys know what you think and what you'd like to hear them talk about. Now strap in and get comfortable, because you're in for one hell of a ride. This is Pop Culture Warrior. Shots.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
What's up, guys? Welcome. This is, or I should say, today is August 18th, 2020. This is episode 27 of Pop Culture Warrior. This is the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture, so you don't have to. I am, as the little box said, CQ. I'm your pop culture technician. And with me, as always, is our very own multi-tool, the voice of the unpop culture, the very, very happy to be here, Mr. Radar. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
Happy to be here. It's awesome.
Yeah, we had a little break, a little unscheduled break from activity last week. How are you doing? How's everything on your end?
Which end? No, I had a
Punny.
little bubbly tummy earlier, but I'm all right. But no, I'm good, man. I'm enjoying my 40s now.
Oh,
I've
man.
eclipsed.
Congratulations. Happy birthday, man. I was going to throw it up on the page, and I forgot which day it was. I'm sorry. I'm going to throw it up on the page.
Cool.
Give you a shout out. You did Sturgis last week, right?
I did.
How'd that go?
Well, I mean, I did fine. One of the big bars down there had like two of the waiters, the bartender chicks have like tested positive for Rona this week.
Yeah. So are you feeling okay? Are you a little?
Well, I mean, I got bubble guts, but I don't know.
Can you taste? Can you smell? Isn't that like a thing? Like you lose your sense of taste?
Oh, you've never met my ex-wives.
You never had taste. Oh, but I need a sound effect.
I think I'm good, man. I got some bubblies in the guts. That's about it.
That's
I should
good.
recover from this weekend, dude. Takes a long time when you get to be old. You
Oh.
either gotta stay drunk or deal with a 3-day hangover. So
There you go. Sorry guys for the unscheduled absence of the show. I was working out a little too hard, man. Pulled something in my back, and I was like, "Yep, there's no way I'm gonna be sitting up and reading off these the notes and the show notes and doing all that stuff when I was just in too much pain, man. That day sucked. Still a little sore. So if you see me fidgeting and whatnot, still a little sore in the back. But anyway, happy to be here. Big shout out to everybody that's watching at home. We got a couple people watching. First big news. I don't know if anybody noticed. We finally hit 500 likes on Facebook. Woohoo! Hold on. There's a sound to play. Is it?
he's got a thing.
There. You guys hear that? All the applause. There's guys. Okay, enough, guys. Seriously, stop. We finally hit. So that means we're gonna do a big giveaway. I didn't have enough time to prepare it this week, but next week, at some point in the show, we're gonna do the big wheel of people. Everybody who likes the page will be entered in to win a fabulous mystery box full of all types of goodies. So yes, I'm very excited. And I've already started putting together some of the stuff that's going to be getting sent out. So I'm very, very excited to send that out and for somebody to win it. It's going to be awesome. Let's see what else. And a super quick shout out. This is out of the norm, but my sister-in-law, and it's going to be very hard for me to say, went into the Air Force and graduated tech school. She already passed basic. She just graduated from tech school today. So she's joining the ranks of the medical professionals in the United States Air Force. So very big congratulations to her. Thank you for your service.
CQ sister-in-law.
That's right. She's family. Hey, what's up? Hold on. We got, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this. Neyka? 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 First time live viewer. Thanks for joining in, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully you'll get a kick out of this. I have a lot of fun stuff we're going to talk about, and we have a really cool interview coming up a little bit later too. So let us know what you think. What's up, Raider?
Oh, I was going to say, speaking of graduates of initial entry training,
Mm-hmm.
the boy graduates this week.
No kidding. Is it basic or the AIT? Basic. Okay. All right. Rock on, man. We got to celebrate. Woo woo. Is it this week or next week?
He graduates this week.
This week. All right, cool, man. We'll celebrate next
They
week.
do graduation now.
They do and don't. I mean, like with the Rona, they don't. But like as far as I'm aware, they still have like ceremonies and still like, you know, parents fly in and do a whole thing and they get a weekend pass and like all that stuff. But like I know for my sister-in-law, when she went through, it all got canceled because of the Rona. So
yeah, they don't do anything. Like I can't even like. I was like, well, maybe I could go because I have an idea. They're like, you have to be active duty and like assigned to the base basically to get in.
yeah, because of all this. But maybe they're not gonna live stream like a diploma ceremony or something.
They're I think they're gonna do like a pass and review with.
Okay.
But you know, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I will say this: this is pretty neat. And obviously, I fucking back in 1998 when I went to basic training, they didn't have that kind of stuff, but they do like like they have like Facebook pages and they update it nearly like 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's cool. No, that's really cool. I know the Air Force. I had heard about the Army doing that, which is pretty cool. When my sister-in-law went into the Air Force, we asked like if they had that. They did not. So I'm like, oh, something the Air Force is behind the Army, and that's a first.
They still have their phones. They can just get on their own.
That's true. They just FaceTime, you know, in between training and whatnot, and yeah, HUA, it's an Army thing. Well, I'm prior Army and as well as radar. We're both Army guys, so airborne. We don't do the HUA thing. But so we have so much to talk about. I kind of want to jump into it, and we have a really cool guest coming up later to do an interview, and so I want to get through this stuff. But dude, first, there's a movie coming out soon in theaters. Something we've been talking about for a while. The New Mutants is actually coming out August 28th, 10 days from today. They're releasing in theaters. I don't know if that's a good idea. At this point, I don't even think they care. Because remember, Disney bought Fox, and Fox owned that property, and it's really probably going to be the last movie that's ever kind of released by the Fox proper. So I figured Disney's just like, fuck it, we didn't pay for it, so like just throw it out there, see what sticks. But they're releasing in theaters August 28th. They're already selling tickets for this. So if you're hey Sean, what's up, man? Army veteran, first time listen. Jeez, this is awesome, man. Thank you guys for hanging in. Hopefully get something here. A lot of first timers. It's okay. Feel free if you guys want to call in. There's a number that scrolls at the bottom. I'd love to hear from people that are dialing in for the first time. But yeah, man, what do you think, Radar? Like 10 days from today, are you willing to put ass in seats at a movie theater?
Is Radar going to go to the movie theater?
No.
Absolutely fucking not.
No matter what the movie is.
I'm going to say this though. I may actually, and I'm going to tell you why. Because remember, I was telling you, a couple months ago, our theater has been open.
Right.
Right. The theater 3 blocks from my house has been open and taking visitors and showing shows. And my sister-in-law went to it the other day, Saturday. She went to use her. We got her a gift certificate, like a $50 gift certificate for Christmas. And she's like, I have to use it. And I was like, why? They're closing down. They've been open. They've been showing movies. I don't know what movies, but they've been showing things. They're still closing. They're doing like 30-cent movies or some shit.
Yeah. A lot of theaters are like bargain. We're not even talking bargain. We're talking like giving movies away. They're 30 cents, $1 ticket, like crazy. Now, a lot of stuff, nobody's releasing new movies. So a lot of it's like 10th anniversary of this, re-release of that. I know I heard like Back to the Future was in some theaters. What was the other one? The Chris Nolan one. God damn it. What's the one? I can't even think. The one where they go inside Inception. Jesus Christ. Inception. Because they're leading up to the kind of the release of the new Tenet movie by Chris Nolan, they were releasing Inception, which I think was like its 10th anniversary, things like that. So they're I think Avatar was going back into theaters. So they're releasing a lot of older stuff to try to, like the big blockbusters, to try to draw, some kind of money towards theaters. So, but yeah, so honestly, like New Mutants is a movie that I want to see.
Okay. Big block, something like Avatar.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen Avatar.
Right.
I've seen it.
Right.
I don't need to go back to see it re-released and catch coronavirus in the process.
Well, okay, right. You've seen it, but think about that. I don't know, that kid that was 8 when Avatar came out and is now like 18, never got to experience Avatar in the big screen. You know what I mean? Or Inception, or whatever have you. You know, Back to the Future. How many 20-something-year-olds got to see Back to the Future in theaters? Because it was the 80s, none. You know, so I get the idea of like, hey, we're gonna, safe practices, and we're gonna space out, and we're gonna clean, and we're gonna wipe down all this. And I mean, if I knew the right precautions were in place for the right movie, for the right price, 30 cents, I could be convinced to go see a movie in theaters. I think so. People are already risking going to the beach, going to concerts, going to Sturgis. So I think they're giving the rights. I really want to see New Mutants. Here's the thing. I think it's gonna be a terrible movie. I really do. But I've seen every terrible comic book movie. I saw Elektra in theaters. I saw any you name it. If it was a bad movie, I've seen it in theaters. Just because I love, ever since before Marvel movies and before superhero movies got good, that was the closest we were going to come to see a live action version of our favorite characters. And so, like, I saw Catwoman in theaters, Halle Berry's Catwoman. That was garbage. That was a hot.
But I mean, Halle Berry was in it. That almost made up for it.
Not even. I don't think it broke even.
They would try to say it was all right.
No, I don't even think. Her alone. I mean, she could have sat in a chair and just purred at the camera for 2 hours. That would have been a better movie than what they released.
If she'd have done that.
That's like softcore porn, isn't it? But yeah, so we have that. Yeah, we have that to come, to look forward to. The other thing, big news for this week, and I just wanted to make people aware of it. DC, the company, is having their fandom event over the internet. Like, they have their own website, DC's Fandom, whatever. It's this Saturday, August 22nd. It's all day. They have, think like Comic-Con, but virtually, and all one day, and all DC properties. So like, they're going to be doing panels, interviews, teasers. They're going to be doing all this stuff live online from, I think it's like 9 in the morning until like, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock at night. And it's triple, quadruple stacked. So you have to like pick what you want to see, because there's going to be multiple things happening at the same time. So like for TV, they're going to be covering Batwoman, Black Lightning, Superhero Girls, DC's Legends Tomorrow, Stargirl, Doom Patrol, Flash, Harley Quinn, Lucifer, Superman and Lois, Teen Titans Go, Titans, Watchmen, Young Justice, Outsiders, and Supergirl will be there. They won't have their own panel, but they'll be doing a bunch of events. Hey, I think we got a caller. Let's see what happens here. Hang on a second. Let's take a chance here. Hello, who's this?
Christopher Jones or Sean Jones.
Hey,
That's what my Facebook says anyway.
Yeah, how's it going, bud?
It's going all right. Yourself?
What? Yeah, Bob, we're here. We're doing it. What can I do you for, buddy?
Well, I just, when you talk about going to the movies and seeing movies and stuff,
yeah,
my biggest question is, why are restaurants and places requiring you to wear a mask, but not when you sit down and eat? Do they think that the coronavirus isn't near their tables, just at their register?
I mean, that's a good point. But how could you eat with the mask on? I mean, really, at some point you have to take it off. But no, I agree with you that, like, you're.
So why don't they just close down the inside? No eating allowed in a restaurant. Pick up
yeah.
orders only.
I agree. And a lot of places do that.
Not worried about the corona.
Yeah, no, a lot of places have done where it's either carry out only, or they'll do, like, I've seen it in our neighborhood. They have like the outside patio area open, but the inside's closed. But yeah, it's kind of silly to think like you have to have a mask on to enter, but then you can sit down, take it off, and eat. Like, that seems counterproductive. I agree with you, though. I agree with you. Let me ask you, how soon are you comfortable to return to theaters to go see a movie?
I don't do movies when it wasn't a corona threat.
Okay, not a movie guy.
I suffer from PTSD.
I understand. I understand completely.
So I don't do well with crowds.
Hey, I completely understand.
I wind up waiting on movies to come out before I get to see them.
Yeah, maybe drive-ins, right? You think maybe the drive-ins a little less claustrophobic?
Drive-ins, I do.
Yeah, man. Maybe
drive-ins was done before in the past, and
Yeah.
I'd like to see drive-ins come back.
Yeah, I'm with you. I heard I read an article somewhere where like Walmart was gonna start doing a thing where they like shut down half the parking lot and almost do like a drive-in theater experience. Like they were gonna start offering that. So that'd be interesting to see that happen kind of nationwide. I agree. I think drive-ins should definitely have a comeback, especially in this time.
They're doing that in Denver for sure. That area, somewhere in the Denver metroplex area,
Yeah.
there's a drive-in. My stepkid just went to it last week. And then the college. What's that?
I said I know upstate New York has one near Watertown. When I was stationed there at Fort Drum, we would go there to watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
The college.
There's a drive-in near my town.
Hey, there's Mom.
In Cincinnati. I just want to put it out there. If you're in Cincinnati, there's a drive-in in Amelia.
There you go, man. People like you got to start getting creative with things. I mean, we're all getting a little stir crazy. I mean, those of us that have stayed, kind of indoors for the most part, you got to start getting creative with things you can do and how you can connect with the outside world. But I'm really interested to see how this whole movie thing's going to play out. So, anything else you want to talk about, man? While we got you here.
I think the staying indoors thing is smart if you're on the higher end of being infected, but I think forcing everyone to quarantine will cause one of two things: either families becoming closer together, or families getting really tired of seeing each other and causing more drama and problems inside families.
Agreed. I think so. I read somewhere like the divorce rate has gone up like a certain amount of percentage. Like people are getting more divorces because they're getting sick of each other.
People, you need some separation. You need a little time apart. You can't be with someone that much all the time.
Absolutely. I agree, man.
No matter how much you love your spouse, they will get on your nerves.
Yeah, the more you love your spouse, the more they'll get on your nerves, I think. My wife knows how to push my buttons, and me hers.
Oh yeah.
But awesome, man. Well, hey, man, thank you.
I love her to death. I wouldn't take nothing in the world for her.
There you go, man. They're our rock, right? We need them. But thanks, man. Thank you for calling in.
Me through all my tough times. So yes, sir. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, that was cool, man. See, people can call in. It's a live show. We're actually here. This is not pre-recorded. That was awesome, man. Thank you for calling in, man. I really appreciate that. Going back to what I was talking about. So that was the DC TV stuff. Movies. They're going to be talking about what's coming up with like Aquaman, Black Adam. They're going to tease the Snyder cut of Justice League. Shazam, the next what's his name? James Gunn is going to be talking about the Suicide Squad he's working on, more from Wonder Woman 1984, even though it should have already came out. There's going to be something I'm looking forward to. They're going to be talking about the future of gaming in the DC kind of universe. So Rocksteady Studios, who was famous for making the Batman Arkham games, which are phenomenal games, have teased that they're going to do like a Suicide Squad video game. So that's been teased. Also, a new version of the Batman games coming from WB Games Montreal. So this Saturday, yeah, we're gonna get a ton. Next week, we're gonna be talking a lot of DC news. I'm just warning you guys now. We're gonna be talking a lot of DC's news because that's gonna be coming out a Saturday. I'll have time to decompress it all, and then we'll talk about it Tuesday. So, any DC news you're looking forward to hearing about there, Radar?
I'm excited. I think there's going to be, when you said like the video game stuff, they're going to start releasing some shit. That kind of excites me a little bit because I think we're kind of stagnant with the old video games in the old Radar household.
That's right.
I get the kids hooked on something new that I can not want to murder them when I see it.
We got to keep us sane. Shout out to guys that are watching, man.
What's that?
No, I was just saying I just see a bunch of people tuned in, man. Juan, King, Rob, Jeff, Mike, what's up? Floridian, my man, my streaming brother. He's got a great streaming channel. If you guys ever into watching some Call of Duty, some really cool action, Floridian is an awesome veteran streamer who talks veteran issues, talks about disabled issues, veterans with disability issues. Absolutely fantastic stream. You guys should check him out, Floridian, on Twitch. Just saying hi. Hey, man. There's, I think, a lot of cool stuff is going to be coming out. I'm excited to see what shakes up this Saturday. And I think, especially like you said, the gaming is where they got my, the movies and TV stuff. Okay, that's cool. But the gaming's really got my attention. I want to see what comes out of that. But let us get into our first topic tonight because we're pushing for time, man. So I got some cool stuff. Let's talk TV. Let's talk TV. Lot of reboots. And we've been talking about this for a while now, right? We got more. All right, you ready for this? First one, pull in from our childhood. Do you remember Ren and Stimpy?
Absolutely, I remember
Right?
Ren and Stimpy.
Who around our age doesn't remember Ren and Stimpy? Well, Ren and Stimpy show will return on Comedy Central. It's been 25 years since Ren and Stimpy ended their run on Nickelodeon and Spike TV. So now Comedy Central will reimagine the series. This is a reboot. They're going to reimagine the series for a new generation. Nickelodeon Animated Studio will develop the project once Viacom CBS hires a creative team. There's no information available yet on like when it's going to debut, how many episodes it'll run. The original show debuted back on Nickelodeon in 1991. The announcement is obviously this is the latest trend in like bringing back some of that subversive animated comedies from the 90s, early 2000s. Remember, they've also already talked about bringing back Beavis and Butthead, Clone High. There's a Daria spin-off series called Jodie. And a lot of these are coming to Comedy Central. So they're obviously making a push for a lot of rebooted, reimagined, sequelized stuff from the 90s and early aughts. So if you don't remember the original Ren and Stimpy's, it was a series following Ren, an emotionally unstable chihuahua, and Stimpy, which was a good-natured yet dim-witted cat. It was super popular. It did draw some criticism, being very subversive adult content. Ran for 5 seasons on Nickelodeon, and then the spin-off Ren and Stimpy adult party cartoon ran on Spike, only showing 3 episodes now. There is a new documentary too called Happy Happy Joy Joy, the Ren and Stimpy story, that's digging into the show's legacy. So if you ever want to relive the glory days of that, you can watch that documentary. And so you excited, man? Ren and Stimpy?
Oh man, I happy joy.
You filled with happy
that little
joy.
song, dude. We used to fucking yep. I don't know, dude, but here's the thing, like there's a reason it didn't stand the test of time. You know what I mean?
Are you saying this is something that shouldn't be rebooted?
I'm not gonna say it shouldn't be reshown. It shouldn't be reintroduced. But it's not like you can build off the plot. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's why they're saying it's for a new generation. They're reinvigorating. They're doing the show. They're not just, I don't know, re-releasing the episodes. It's going to be set for like what they're doing with Beavis and Butthead. It's set for modern times. So how that affects it, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, but part of the allure of Ren and Stimpy was the fact it's dumb.
Yeah.
Right. It's mindless.
Yeah.
You kind of you smoke weed and you just kind of veg out to Ren and Stimpy. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. It's not like it's there is no plot. If you're out there and you haven't seen Ren and Stimpy, there is 0 plot to this show.
There's like a 30-second plot that kind of holds the whole.
It's like the same plot that's in every porno. Like, you know what I mean? You could throw some plot seasoning in it, but it's not.
That is very good.
And then the animation. Okay, let's get in the animation aspect of this. Was shit. Not as bad as Beavis and Butthead.
I mean, it's 90s cartoon animation. I mean, remember South Park? Shit. Like the first season of South Park was literally paper mache.
Yeah. I'm not, but you didn't watch those shows for the animation.
Right.
You're not going to get the great graphics and all the CGI shit. You're not going to get all this stuff. Like all of the reasons like we watch the reason that cartoons are watched now, the genre has evolved, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Some of these animated series, I'm not even going to call them cartoons anymore. Some of these animated series have very, very intricate plot lines. Some of them have exceptional, groundbreaking animation.
Sure.
And then there's they're like the window lickers. You know what I mean? They're brainless, mindless, window licking cartoons. They were when they were there. I'm not saying I don't love them. I'm not saying I didn't watch shit of them when I was that age. Yeah. But
it's very much SpongeBob. I feel like SpongeBob falls in that category, and that's popular still today. You know what I mean?
But if you had a Ren and Stimpy that was directed towards that audience, towards that, that pre-K to 8th grade audience, it'd kill. You know what I mean? It really would.
Yeah. I mean, I
Why?
think that's what they're honestly. I think they're gonna go for that. I think they're going for that like South Park audience. Now, South Park, I think as it's gotten older, the audience has gotten older. But I think I'm thinking the original intent, like Simpsons, more edgy, South Park maybe less edgy, somewhere in that middle. I think that's what they're gonna shoot for as an audience. And Floridian said they could be eating Tide Pods as one of the
Yeah, they
stuff
could
like
do
that.
some things. They could make it. I mean, I'm almost wondering if they wouldn't be just as successful just re-releasing the originals. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If they would
reintroducing.
just, and maybe they'll do that in conjunction with the new stuff.
Yeah, it's possible.
If you know what I mean, that
I don't
you
know.
get back to people, you get back to me where Will Smith shouldn't be Aladdin, not because he didn't do a good job, but because he wasn't Robin Williams.
Right,
You
right.
know what I mean?
Which
Don't
which
fuck
we're
my
gonna
writers,
we're gonna
dude.
touch on
Don't
Will
fuck
Smith here
my
in a
music
second.
like that.
we're gonna touch on
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Fuck
Okay,
my
so
music like that.
another one of those like I clearly remember from my childhood being obsessed with it. Who remembers Who's the Boss?
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on, Tony Danza, Alyssa Milano. My God, who didn't have a crush on Alyssa Milano? Oh my God.
Shit. I mean,
So in the past, Tony Danza has said that he's not interested in rebooting that show. Well, it looks like he had a change of heart because both Danza and Alyssa Milano are in the early stages of developing a sequel. So not a reboot, but a sequel of the popular 80s sitcom with Sony. They would reprise their roles as father and daughter, Tony and Samantha. Now, for those that don't remember, the original series aired on ABC from 84 to 92, and it followed them as they started a new life in Connecticut, with Tony leaving his professional baseball career behind for a stable job as a housekeeper for ad executive Angela Bowers. And the busy house was also inhabited by Bowers' son, Jonathan, and her mom, Mona. Everybody loved Mona. Fortunately, she passed away last year. Very sad. So now the mother and son, Angela and Jonathan, have opted out. They're not bringing their characters back, but they've said they support the reboot. They said they hope that the creative team finds, that in their absence, it finds a good home. Now, Milano tweeted out on Tuesday that she's super excited that it's coming back. She added that we feel the time is right to tell the story of where these amazing characters are today. Can't wait to share their stories. So happy. And then Tony Danza also said, here we go. So, yeah, it's happening. Maybe we finally find out who's the boss, who's really the boss. Yeah. So, it is what do you think? You interested in a Who's the Boss sequel series, kind of like what they did with Full House, what they did with Girl Meets World, the follow on to Boy Meets World, all those.
Yeah, and then you got Fuller House and all those. You know what? Some of them have been really good. Some have been shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Let's see what they do. Tony Danza's kind of a one-trick pony. Let's be honest. He's not like the most talented actor.
Are you judging others?
What's that?
I said, are you judging others' acting ability?
I mean, it's fucking. Well, he got paid more money than I did, but I'm not saying he's any better actor than I am.
You just haven't been given the chance. That's what it is.
My kid's lying to me about who ate the last Snickers is a better acting job than fucking he could do. But Alyssa Milano's hot still. For sure. She's still hot, right?
Yeah. I think so. I think so.
Google, is Alyssa Milano still hot?
Let's Google it and find out. Yeah, Heath said the Brack Show needs a reboot. I remember the Brack Show. That was funny. Space Ghost. Who remembers Space Ghost? That was good stuff. Oh yeah, there he is. Hey, Chris said Space Ghost Coast to Coast was an awesome show. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Space Ghost, Tiny Toons. Who else? A lot of people. Family Matters. Wasn't happy with the Girl Meets World. The Girl Meets World. Okay, it was aimed at a young audience. I'll be the first to admit that I watched because I was a huge Boy Meets World fan growing up, so I kind of wanted to see what they did with it. I mean, it wasn't meant for me. It was very clearly meant for a young audience. It was meant for maybe more for the female audience than the male audience. But I wasn't mad at it. I mean, it was a show. Full House, the Fuller House was okay. So.
Yeah, Fuller House wasn't horrible. My daughters loved that show.
Yeah.
They watched the shit out of it.
Mom's talking about Tiny Toons and Animaniacs. They're bringing back Animaniacs. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, but they're actually bringing back the old voices for Animaniacs. So that'll be coming up coming up soon. And what else? Just turned 69. Man, you guys are digging this. I can't keep up with the comments of like all the shows. A-Team, Peter says A-Team needs to come back. Well, they did the movies. I didn't think the movies were too bad. I mean,
you stop. Don't even bring up those crap movies. Those
I didn't think they were that bad. They weren't that
They
bad.
weren't that good.
I mean, they weren't great.
They weren't that, were that good.
I mean, Voltron. We got Sean says Voltron. Ravens. Ravens World. Oh yeah, I remember that show. That was
Everybody Loves Raven or whatever.
Yeah, that was one. Okay, so keeping that trend going, here's another one. Now this one, I'll say I'm interested. I'm curious. I have a professional curiosity here. Okay, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Okay, they're going to reboot it, and it's going to be a drama.
What?
Yeah, it's this very interesting take. So basically, the story, for those that don't know, this random YouTube guy, had this idea to reimagine Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as a drama, and he shot like a trailer for this non-existent nothing, and he just shot it in a very kind of like Riverdale took Archie comics and turned it into this moody teen drama kind of thing. Think like that. So it was very much about like, I'm this guy from the hood, and I'm stuck in Beverly Hills, and these people, they don't respect me and this and that. But it's very much of a remember, because the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did tackle some pretty tough subjects, but always from the side of humor. So it's doing that, but now doing it more from the side of drama, a different perspective. And so this trailer that he did for fun, for a lark, kind of blew up. And Will Smith himself saw it, reached out to the guy and said, like, I like this idea. And so they're working together to co-write the script. Will's gonna executive produce the series. There's already the new Peacock Network, HBO Max, and Netflix are already bidding. Have started the bidding process for the series. They want to bring it to their services. They said the new series will be basically kind of like what you see in the trailer. It's just a darker, grittier, drama-driven version of the show. And so Morgan Cooper is the guy that came up with the trailer. He's going to be working with Will Smith on the project. According to a report, they're saying they've been working on this actually for about a year now. They've already been working on it. Cooper's gonna co-write the script as well as direct and co-executive produce alongside with Will Smith. So yeah, this is a thing I don't know, man. I see people are knocking it, man. They're saying, why? No. The drama is going to be like the entanglement. Sadly, I think it'll only last a season. I don't know. Maybe I'm an optimist. When I heard Riverdale was a thing, when that they're going to turn Archie comics into this drama, moody, teenage, angsty, whatever, I was like, that's the dumbest thing. That's not going to last 2 episodes. They're going to bomb it. And apparently, now I haven't watched it, but apparently they're like on season 5 or whatever. They're rolling. When they did what was the one, the Disney reimagined where it was Enchanted or something like that, or Entangled, I don't know, whatever that was. Not Descendants, which was the kids one, but like the adult one that was on ABC for a while. That I thought, nobody's gonna want that, and that blew up and went for a couple years. So I don't know. I think if written well, if directed well, if it goes to the right home. So like knowing that the Peacock Network, HBO Max, and Netflix, like I think if it gets on Netflix, I think it hits big. It's a weird premise. It's different, but I think it could find a good home. I think it could have some legs, and if done well, which if Will Smith's involved, a lot of the original like producers and stuff are coming back for it. So this isn't just some. I mean, you could say it's like a money grab for nostalgia's sake, but I don't know. I think it could be good. I'm not a drama guy. I'm not a guy that likes drama series, but I'll check it out. I'll go in with an open mind and not fault the guy for being in Aladdin and playing the genie. which sometimes
Oh, I'm not going to fault him for that. I'm not going to fault him one bit for that. Not his fault. He just can't do it.
Yeah, I hear you. That was hard to swallow, that one. But yeah. So
But I'll say
go ahead.
this with that.
Go
I know
ahead.
you're gonna ask, what do I think about it? If it doesn't fuck, I think Will Smith will make sure it's all right.
Yeah,
I don't think Will Smith's gonna put his stamp of approval on it and put his face to it if it's
yeah.
junk.
You tarnish your legacy if you do that.
Yeah, and he's not hurting for the money.
No.
I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he's got to pay for like his old lady,
His wife's
stuff.
entanglements. No, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think he saw something in that, and I think, obviously it keeps him in the, but he's not going to be involved as far as in front of the camera. So it's more of maybe showing, hey, what I can do as a producer, what I can do as a guest director, or, maybe he plays the estranged father that, shows up out of the blue, or, I don't know, something like that.
Or like the uncle. Maybe he's like the Uncle Phil.
Uncle Phil, he could be the rich, snooty Uncle Phil,
But here's the deal, and this is where I'm gonna say I think they're doing it right.
Mhm.
Vice, like the Ren and Stimpy one, and shows like that. You can't just completely reboot something
Mhm.
and make it new without having like some sort of homage to the old one, right?
Yeah.
But what they're doing, if they do this right, they can kind of build upon what they had without really tarnishing what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can kind of just be like, oh yeah, I remember. Hey, remember Uncle Phil when you used to do this? Even though he's dead, whatever. We'll get someone else in there.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlton. It's Carlton's kids or some shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? And just kind of just a basic touch of the old, a little flavor, and then they're gone, right? Whereas
that's the
Stimpy,
difference.
Like how can you do that with Ren and Stimpy? You can't. You have to have that. Ren and Stimpy were the show. You know what I mean? Without a plot, you have to have the people or characters.
Yeah.
So now you're, like I said, it's a whole different.
No, but that's the difference between a sequel, a follow-on, a reboot, which is completely reimagining, a prequel. Like that's why all these different vernaculars, because is it an alternate universe? Is it a this is 20 years later? Is it a reboot where it's completely same? Like Walking Dead was technically a reboot of the series because it was the same character, same story, but different, slightly different. But yeah, the chat said this is obviously it's a very hot topic for people because we have Nika says reboots are hard for me not to compare. It's hard to not to compare the two. True, very true. Chris says he's waiting for season 2 of Mandalorian. Aren't we all? I wish they would finish Deadwood and Carnival. Carnival? Yeah.
Sorry about it.
Yeah.
Sorry about the Deadwood one. I'm in the same boat, man. I'm a huge fan of the Deadwood show, but one, the director's like dead or dying, and they kind of, being a Deadwood person, like as someone who like literally lives in Deadwood, the way they wrote themselves into a corner with the story.
Yeah.
There was nowhere to go. Sorry about it. Like they kind of dick themselves, and then they did the movie, which was supposed to happen 10 years later, and like half the main characters are dead or moved on. So what are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like modern day Deadwood
True.
sucks balls.
We also have so King says Family Matters. He'd like to see Family Matters again. All right, cool. Tim says Knight Rider. I will tell you, there's a Knight Rider movie in the works. I think, is it a movie or a series? Shit, I have to double check again.
Didn't we talk about that one time? I'm pretty sure about it.
We might have. Hold on, you give me 2 seconds. He also said MacGyver. He'd like to see MacGyver come back. I mean, I think they try to like redo like a modern day MacGyver, and it didn't play well. I think it was. Knight Rider. Okay, Knight Rider. It's a movie. A movie is in a movie reboot, so probably not with the same cast and like not a sequel of following up for years later. It's David Hasselhoff in his retirement home, and this will be a reboot, kind of like they did like a CBS 2-hour where they were trying to reboot the franchise. Remember they did it? It was like a 2-hour special that was supposed to spin off into its own series, and then kind of came and went. Like it was yeah. He says, Chris says they need to reboot dinosaurs. Man, I love dinosaurs. Oh wait, I think we're getting a call here. Let's see who's calling the show.
Right, not the mama.
Hang on, not the mama. Hey, who's this?
Hi, this is King Smith.
What's up, King? How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I'm just calling in. I have a quick question. This subject that y'all talk about right now, I think is pretty fascinating. Did you watch the TV series reboot of Cobra Kai on YouTube?
Oh, that's okay. Great question, and I'm gonna be dead honest with you. I haven't because it was behind that locked like YouTube Red subscriber thing for the longest time.
Mhm.
Now Netflix has bought the rights, so moving on with season 3 and beyond, it's going to be on Netflix. And they just also announced last week that they're going to bring season 1 and season 2 into Netflix. So I do plan on watching it once it hits Netflix. I haven't even checked lately to see if it's there yet, but I will. I do want to watch it. I've heard really good things. I've heard it was done really well. It is a sequel, right? It's following up on the story 30 years into the future. Have you seen it? Any recommendation?
Yes, I watched both season 1 and season 2, and I thought it was really fantastic, and it did really well on YouTube. I think every episode, I think the average was around about 60 million views.
Wow.
So yeah,
That
that is
sounds
really
pretty
good numbers. But the news that you gave about it coming to Netflix, that is news to me. I didn't know that. So thanks for that, man. I was just calling in quickly for that. Want to get your opinion if you saw it. And
Yeah. I'll
thanks,
tell you
man.
what, I will definitely talk about it when I do get to see it. I will talk about it. But I'm actually looking forward to it. I've heard really good things, and yeah, we'll see soon enough.
All right, brother.
Hey, thanks
Have
for
a good
calling in,
show,
man.
man.
Thanks.
All right.
Awesome, man. Look at that. Love that. I love the people. I'm a man of the people. So one last thing in TV news, and this one I'm so excited about. So excited about. Okay. We talked about this a couple weeks ago that G4 was teasing a return. We still don't know what that means. For those that don't know, G4 was a network. It was, built around gaming and Comic Cons, and had great shows like Attack of the Show and X Play, and it was really like it was my people. It spoke to me as a person. That network. Obviously, it ran like 18 hours of Cops and the occasional movie, but it it didn't get the love and nurturing it needed. But they're teasing a return. We don't know if it's going to be just a website. We don't know if it's going to be a streaming service. We don't know if it's going to be an app or if it's going to be an actual network on TV. But the latest news, one of the staples of the show, of the network for its time, was Olivia Munn. She was a huge star for the G4 network while she was there. She is reportedly in talks to rejoin G4 as a host when the network relaunches next year, 2021. She was one of the original G4 crew before parting ways from Attack of the Show. She became an official actress, small screen, big screen. It reports that she's in final. So there's a report that's going on. She's in final talks to sign a multi-year deal with G4, a pact that will also include a development deal and has both on and off air components to this contract. So now, as an actress, she's been in Perfect Couples, The Newsroom, Predator. She was the mutant Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse. She's said many times that she had a really good experience being on G4, and that, just moving on to bigger things was part of her decision to leave back in 2011. But, this is huge news if they get her back, because she's somewhat of a star, and that'd be huge. Chris says, hey, they had Screensavers. I really like Screensavers. Screensavers was a cartoon that was shot in like 8-bit video game style. So that cartoon shot as like an 8-bit video game, which was hilarious. I loved it. One of my favorites. I was bummed when it didn't come back. So yeah. So officially it says that there's rumor that there's going to be an official announcement of both the return of G4 and Olivia Munn's involvement very soon. So I'm looking forward to that. So what do you think, man? G4? Are we excited? Olivia Munn coming back to G4? Did that get you a little excited, right? People.
I was excited about. I don't know, dude. I'm still middle ground on it. I'm medium. I'm still
Medium.
medium on it. I
Even
think
with
it'll be
Olivia
all
Munn
right.
coming back.
Olivia Munn, it helps.
I mean, it helps. I mean, don't you remember using the French outfit, jumping into the pie, eating the hot dogs on the string? Come on, man. This was before memes were really a thing. But if it should have been, it should have memes all over the place for her.
Right.
Like she could have created thousands of memes just by herself. But yeah, I think they need her back. They need Kevin Pereira back. I think like they need to do right because a lot of those people they kind of screwed over when the network made the changes, so they should be brought back and be part of it. So, I mean, it is what it is. We'll leave that we'll leave them apples alone. But I do want to talk real quick because we're running short on time. Bob Burlew said Bulow. Jesus, I'm terrible with names today. They had a show called Screensavers, but the original show was out of SF and G4 only wanted the name. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So real quick, let's jump into some gaming news. Very excited that Marvel's Avengers coming out soon. I got to play the beta this weekend. I threw up a question on the Facebook page saying, who checked out the beta, what they think. I enjoyed it for what it is. Like you have to understand, getting into that game, you're not getting Call of Duty, right? You're getting a kind of like almost like a dungeon crawler, a little more open world. But you're getting to play with these Marvel characters and their powers and how they, take down the bad guys. And it's a lot of button smashing. And I enjoyed it for what it is. I really enjoyed it. Obviously the beta is out there. For them to release the beta, it's not the game. It's a version of the game. It's a small chunk of the game, but obviously it has a lot of the game code in there. And so what do computer people do? They dive into the code. So we had some data miners. Some data miners were looking into the code that got released for the beta, and they were able to kind of piece together some information, right? We already know that there's going to be, X amount of heroes to start out, but they've already said that in the future they're going to release more and more as time goes on. They're going to release for free these new characters to kind of keep the game fresh. Well, in an initial data mined series of strings that were posted to a subreddit, they revealed that people like Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Kate Bishop, War Machine, and Peter Parker were all listed as bits of code that could be unlocked at a future time. So that they're already kind of laying the framework for that. A second attempt at data mining surfaced later, and it had all those previously mentioned people, but they added more. They had Ant-Man, who, funny enough, in the code was listed as Ant-Man 2, which kind of piecing things together, I think there's going to be a separate, like there's the original Ant-Man, who's Hank Pym. He's going to be like the guy that gives you missions. And I think Scott Lang, who is Ant-Man 2, who's the second one, is the one you'll actually be able to play as, kind of like what they did in the movies. So Ant-Man was there, the Wasp, Vision, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Marvel, Mockingbird, Quake, Winter Soldier, and Scarlet Witch were all named kind of in the code. They also found remnants for Frenzy, Ultron, Red Hulk, Deathlock, Vindicator, and Monica Rapachinsky, who I think has something to do with AIM. But those people probably won't be playable characters, more like bad guys you'll face up, later versions of the game, like add-on bad guys for later. So what do you think? Avengers video game? You're interested?
Dude, I'm in.
You're in?
You don't even try to convince me. That
well, who are you
one.
most excited to play as in Avengers?
Oh man, because probably Iron Man.
Iron Man. That's a classic. It's a classic.
Man, you know me. It'd be fun, dude.
I think the game's gonna be good.
What's that?
I think the game's gonna be good. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's we're entering into a world where they want to increase the longevity of games and kind of add on content. We're seeing it with games like Fortnite, where it's the same game, they're just adding more content. Warzone from Call of Duty. I think Avengers is going to try to add on content for as long as they can to keep. Because here's the thing: I think gaming has come up with the idea that if you give us free stuff, we'll keep playing. But then you also give us an option to buy stuff. You know what I mean? The free stuff is what keeps you playing, with then having the option to buy stuff is what keeps them getting paid. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're going to give me, let's say, I don't know, Black Panther later on. Well, cool, I'm gonna keep playing. But you can also buy these other costumes for Black Panther for $2.99, $1.99. So that's what keeps them getting money. Like I said, I played it. I thought it was really fun. There's a lot of collectibles you collect in the thing, and it has a lot of. You're playing. The beginning part, you're playing as Kamala Khan. She's kind of the new person into the Avengers fold. She's newly acquired power. So she's a Avengers fangirl. So you're kind of literally living through her in the sense that, like, if you were just suddenly introduced to the Avengers, you'd be like, oh my God, it's Captain America, it's Thor, it's Iron Man. Like, you'd be freaking out too. So it was kind of cool playing from that perspective, but then you can jump around and play from all the characters you unlock. I think it's cool. I think it'll be a fun multiplayer game because a lot of the powers can kind of combine and create all new things. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for when it comes out. I have a line in with someone at Marvel. I'm trying to get them to come on and talk about the game and do some fun interview stuff. So we're trying to make that happen. But obviously right now everybody's a little busy between coronavirus and them releasing a game. They're kind of busy. So
you know what I'm kind of scared of though on that?
What's that?
When you start talking about making money, that's when it becomes kind of pay to win. And
right.
I don't like that.
Well, no. You're right. You're right. So with this, there's going to be no pay to win because you're not going to pay for like power ups. A lot of it's going to be kind of like with Fortnite, where it's a lot of skins. You know, it's what is it? Oh, I'm trying to think of the word. It's cosmetic. A lot of it's cosmetic. So like, I want to play with Captain America, but in his World War II outfit. You know what I mean? So I have to pay $1.99 to do that. So it's not going to. I think you're right. I hate when someone pays and that makes the game imbalanced. You know, Call of Duty is they've walked that fine line. I don't think they've crossed it yet, but you know, you have to buy the season pass if you want to unlock certain guns. Now it doesn't really imbalance the game because there's just so, like, you're talking 600 guns available and then that one gun that's you'd have to buy. You know what I mean?
And none of them seem too obviously overpowered.
Right, exactly.
Or same, you know, like a lot of, you know, like World of Tanks does that, for example. Like, you can buy this premium tank and you can basically get your crew trained faster, but also play it in the game, play it multiplayer, and you have to purchase the tank to play it. It's not really overpowered. It's actually weaker generally than the tanks that are available through the tech tree. So, I mean,
it's
so
different.
But when they start getting to start making it to where even if it's got the appearance of pay to win, that drives away a lot of their fan base, I think. I mean, look at something like you look at Grand Theft Auto 5.
Right.
You know, I mean, there's no real pay to win in that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, true. But like, you know, you can buy 1 million credits or whatever like that, and then with that 1 million credits, you can buy lots of things. You know what I mean? So you know, it's one of those things. I think they're getting better at it. We've had situations where companies were really toeing the line and really getting out of control when you had, like, was it Battlefront 2, where you're buying those loot boxes and you know, spending tons of money, and then you can unlock like Darth Vader and all this stuff that was fucking way OP, and really were paying to win in those situations. Right. And it was not good. And there was a couple games that were kind of guilty of that, and have gotten into some hot water and have heard from the gamers that it's not cool, and they've backed off those practices. So it's gotten a lot better in recent years.
They're actually kind of threatened for some of those. It was a lot of EU stuff, but they're like, this might be considered a form of gambling.
Yeah.
By these.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of calmed them down more than the fan base saying, you know, this is dumb. Because people still buying them. As long as they're still making money, they'll still keep doing it. Sorry about it. Like, they don't give a shit whether you like it or not. They're making money. They're going to keep doing it. But as soon as, like, they were like, no, we're going to regulate this if you don't kind of whatever, that kind of thing. I think that kind of chilled them out more than actually.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. Mike Larson says, did you play it once or twice? He's talking about Avengers. Did you play it once or twice? Read an article that said that the guy liked it the first time he played it, but the second time wasn't as good. I played it once, but I played it for a good long while. I might have played for like 3 or 4 hours. and I actually stopped for the very reason I've already pre-ordered it. I'm going to get it, and I didn't because the way the beta works, you're actually kind of jumping through the game. Like you play the intro, and then you play like a couple episodes in or a couple missions in, and then you play a couple more inches. So you're starting to see bits of the story, but kind of out of order. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I was like, oh, I see where we're gonna end up, but I don't have no idea how we got there. And so I was like, you know what? After like 3 or 4 hours of this, I was like, you know what? Let me stop. And because at one point there was like 20 missions I could play, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna stop here, and I want to be surprised. I want to be along for the journey, and I want to go from start to finish, not jump around. So I only did play it the once, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I definitely think it's a game that you're not going to like. I feel at 3 or 4 hours of playing it, it was. I was like, okay, yeah, that's where you know what I mean. It's not one of those games like something like I don't know, Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto, where you could sit there and play for hours and just be immersed by this. I feel like there will get a point where you're like, all right, my fingers are getting tired from mashing the buttons. I'm getting tired of hearing the same catchphrases. Things like that. So I think it's a game you'll play in chunks. You'll play it a chunk here, chunk there, chunk here. But I as an obviously if you see my background as an Avenger fan, as a Marvel fan, I'm personally gonna get a kick out of it and enjoy it for what it is. And maybe some people might get bored of it. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. Alrighty. I think we're getting to that point in the show where we're gonna take a little break.
People getting bored at us.
Getting bored with us? No, never. No, we're gonna take a quick break. I'm very excited. So what we have on the other side of the break is we're going to have a special guest, and he's the CEO and founder of a veterans gaming nonprofit organization that is doing some incredible things for veterans in the world of gaming. We're going to talk all about it. I don't want to tease it too much, but yeah, so hang tight for that. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the other guy. You ready for to take a break, buddy?
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's
all
do
right.
this.
We're going to take a break, guys. We'll be back in 10 minutes. See you on the other side. Shots.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
You got me staring out the windows. 8 hours later, you're a no-show. looking up and fading out. Cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through. Skin is brown. Nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Constellation theme, mapping stars that are meant to be. Geminis are free of suicidal kings. This misty maze of me, so obvious yet never seen. Feeling though the fog will lift to find me lost at sea. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Myself and I am so lost, it's beautiful, far away from life, but I want your visible feeling to be mine. Oh, I just don't get it. When will your heart beat with my mind? I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life that's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I stood there in that middle of church with a bottle of gin in my hand. I'm looking up at the rooftop like I'm trying to find my long lost friend. My days turn to nights, my nights turn to weeks when you're living life on the road. I'm halfway back to New Orleans with a few more drinks to go. I said, tip 'em on back. Well, let's tip 'em on back. I finally made it back to Bourbon Street, picking some of them old night bars, hoping I could find myself playing music on my guitar. For the kid around, they all shouted out as the drinks began to flow. I pulled out that old guitar, then I showed them how to do-si-do. I said, tip 'em on back. Well, let's tip 'em on back. I stood there with a bottle of gin in my hand, looking up at the rooftop like I'm trying to find my long-lost friend. Days turn to nights, but nights turn to weeks when you live a life on the road. Halfway back to New Orleans with a few more drinks to go, I said, tip 'em on back. Well, let's tip 'em on back.
Call the show now at 415-889-8367. The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture Warrior. Very excited because here in hour two, we have a great guest joining us. This is, he's the founder and CEO of an amazing organization called Stack Up. It's a veteran gaming nonprofit organization. A quick background as I introduce our guest, Stephen Machuga. God damn it, I messed it up. Sorry.
But we even went over it before we started.
We practiced. We practiced.
You did it.
Stephen Machuga.
Very important guest we have coming into the studio today. Stephen Machuga. I got it. There
Stephen
he is.
Machuga. He's a veteran of the U.S. Army, captain in the 82nd Airborne Division, and served in military intelligence in the 2nd Infantry Division. So yeah, welcome today, Stephen. What's up, buddy?
Yep. What's going on, man? Long time no chat.
Yeah,
How's everything
yeah.
going? We have a bit of a history together, so
Yeah, we go back a little bit, a couple years. I even, so the audience will notice I did a wardrobe change between the break. I'm rocking my Stack Up, Veterans Are Our Mission, Gaming Is Our Passion T-shirt. So I think it really is. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, "Oh, is that from something?"
Yeah, it's it's on the shirt. I'm rocking it. It really is a really cool organization. You guys do an amazing job of what you do. But first, let's give the audience, the listeners out there, just a quick kind of background so we can get to know you as a person, right? So obviously, I said you're Army veteran. Tell us a bit about your service.
So yeah, started off. Was originally going to join the Marines back in the day, with a buddy of mine out of high school, and my dad was like, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you go do a semester in college, and let me know how you feel about that. And when you get done with that, if you still want to join the Marines, you certainly can. I'll give you my blessing." I was like, "You don't know nothing, old man. I'll do your semester on my head, and I'll be out in the Marines in 6 months." And boy, I went to college, and I was like, "This is amazing." So yeah, I kind of. So I split the difference between military service and college with the old ROTC thing. I went to Indiana University. What the hell just came out of my mouth? Purdue University in Indiana. Jesus, hasn't been that long, kids. But Purdue University out of Indiana with an ROTC scholarship, and then my commander, the ROTC command detachment, the command. Wow, geez, I'm having a tough time here, boys. Detachment commander did not care for me, and he knew I was terrified of heights, so he thought it would be really funny if he recommended that I get sent to the 82nd Airborne, where we were getting thrown out of airplanes every 3 weeks. So, and I originally went in planning to become trying to get something as far as military intelligence. I wanted to become an interpreter. I was taking Russian linguistics at college, and he thought it'd be funny to put me in for infantry. So yeah, but I'll tell you what, I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I did the real deal Holyfield military experience, platoon leader. Didn't get my company command, but transitioned over to MI at the 3.5 year mark through branch transfer. And I missed out on company command. I'm really mad that I didn't get a chance to do that, especially being downrange. But yeah, I transitioned to MI and 2 tours overseas, good times. Went to 2nd Infantry Division up in Washington. I actually was going to Kosovo when 9/11 happened, and I was at JRTC at the time, and we thought it was part of the training. Everybody that's been over there, you know, they're telling like, oh, terrorists just, you know, crash planes into the the towers, and we're just like, all right, let's calm down. Let's
try something
real.
Realistic. Yeah.
And I'm like, come on, that's not real. And then they wheeled out televisions like, we're calling an index right now. It's like, oh, this is really happening. Oh, hell. Okay. So then I ended up going over to Kosovo while my unit deployed to Afghanistan, and I was none too pleased. I ended up as the liaison to the Russian military in Kosovo, which meant I got to live with the Russians and drink at all hours of the day for 7 months as a part of my deployment. So definitely a little bit of a different alternative playlist deployment for me for my first round. And then when I got back, I went to the captain's course, and I switched out with somebody who did not want to go to Iraq. He was terrified. And I was like, well, I missed out on my first go. I'll switch positions with you. I got this crappy training gig in Maryland that'll be perfect for you. I want to go get me some war. So I switched up with him and transitioned to 2nd Infantry Division from there as their S2. And within 3 weeks of being deployed to Iraq, it was literally the Arrested Development. I have made a huge mistake. So this was not a smart idea on my part.
Right.
But yeah, that was spent 13 months in glorious Iraq. Again, glad I did it. Glad I did my time. Glad I made it back in one piece. But whew, that was a rough go.
Yeah. What year were you in Iraq? Just out of curiosity.
0304.
0304. Yeah, because I was. Yeah, we were in Iraq at the same time then. I was. Yeah. What part of Iraq? Are you allowed to say?
First six. Yeah. First six. We were the first striker brigade in country. So anytime anything was popping off in the South, they were like, "Oh, pushing the new toys over there."
Yeah.
And so we were constantly all over the place. And then my last 6 months, I moved up to take over as Brigade S2X, which is the human intel team lead. And I might as well have been on vacation. It was so far removed from my colonel, who was in charge of the battalion that I was with. He was a big fan. My joke was I think the guy wanted to lose a limb over there. Like he wanted some war stories, and he was not going to be happy until he got a bullet. He was an interesting cat. He wore around dual wield pistols and had a cigar in his mouth at all times, and he reckoned himself a fancy lad, and he just came off as a joke to a lot of people. Like the highlight of his time, my time with the commander was he brought everybody into the talk one morning, and he had written his own striker anthem that he wanted everybody to learn and sing. Because he fashioned himself like this modern day Patton, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, yeah. So we were constantly outside the wire those first 6 months because he wanted to have his mobile talk. So he he was constantly going outside trying to get shot at.
Wanted that combat badge.
Yeah, and I'm like, exactly. Mm-hmm. And so there we were with him, like all the, S4, S3, S2, and we're driving around with them, and we're just like, I guess we're doing this. So where we should have been in the talk most of the time, like all my maps and analyst notebook and all that stuff was at the talk. I was just pulling fancy air guard for most, like anytime we'd leave the wire, it's like, okay, I guess we're doing.
This guy, he sounds like a downloadable character for Call of Duty. That's what he sounds like with the dual pistols.
he was a clown. He was a clown. Like that kind of. This is not what you're supposed to be doing out here. Like,
Right.
This is. Yeah, he was just trying to get out movement to contact, man. He was just trying to mix it up as much as he could. So.
Yeah. So we already. So guys, if you have comments questions, comments, I don't know, whatever, antidotes or general stupidness, put it in the chats. We'll read it. Like our resident Marine here, Mike says. So can you read a map?
Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, I can read a map. I know that's the joke of the brand new lieutenant. Right?
That's right.
But no, I made it through Ranger School. I know my way around a grid square or two.
There you go.
Yeah, I did okay. I did
Yeah.
all right. I mean, hey, everybody gets lost. It happens. I was not.
I
one of
mean,
those.
not everybody, but yeah.
I'll tell you what. That kind of knowledge definitely brought it back around when I was, my video game awareness through mapping. Like, you don't realize how much of that carries over. But it absolutely does, because your brain just is used to like having a mini map in your head at all times, which sounds weird to say, but it's 100% true. Because when I ended up getting married, and my wife had no like concept of mapping, or how do you know that that's over there? Well, it's over here. It's like over this. None of that. There's no spatial awareness as far as mapping goes.
Right.
So, yeah, I did okay. I did all right.
Yeah. Dave in the chat says, I guess in reference to the guy you were describing, he says we refer to those officers as Captain America. That's what they would refer to those guys. They just wanted to get out there and get some. Yeah.
I'm good. I got a little bit, and I was like, that's enough of that. Okay, let's not. Oh, we're going back out. Oh, Christ. All right.
There you go.
So,
you got yours. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. So obviously you ended your service. You decided you were going to move on. What was that kind of? I'm always curious. Obviously my transition was a little abrupt. I didn't get a choice. I got shot, and they're like, "You're done." But for you, what was it like? Kind of, A, making that choice to like, okay, I'm done, and B, kind of, what was that transition like back into the civilian world?
Well, I was planning on getting out after 4. I was planning on doing my 4 and getting out, and then 9/11 happened. I was like, oh no, we're not letting this one go. And so,
Right.
and we all got stop loss too. So it's kind of like, all right, you didn't really have much of an option, but I wanted to make sure that, because I mean, before 9/11, deployments were few and far between. You weren't doing a whole hell of a lot. And I had done jack and or shit the whole time my military service. I volunteered for the Kosovo thing because they were looking for Russian speakers. And I was like, oh, great, I could finally do something and say I did something in the military. Cool. And then 9/11 happened. It's like, oh, we're really doing this. Okay. So, but, obviously deploying overseas takes the wind out of that sail real quick. And it was like, okay, ready to go home. Let's not do that ever again. And I happened to catch a training calendar, like we were doing left seat, right seat rides with the incoming unit. And I happened to catch a training calendar for the brigade, something to the effect of, we were going to be taking over, like getting ready to cycle back up 9 months later to go to JRTC, NTC, take some time off to be with loved ones. And then we were going right back over to the box. It's like, yeah, if I was thinking about getting out before, we're not doing that again. So yeah.
So and then the transition into civilian world, how did that go?
It was tricky. I mean, I got back, and within a couple months I was out on my ass, and there was not really, they talk about trying to transition veterans out of the service, but everybody goes through that same week-long class where you're just like, okay, when you put on your Burger King uniform, you want to make sure you have, it's like, okay, this is not helping me with anything here.
Right.
I was an officer. I had a little different situation. I was able to build out a resume a little bit, as opposed to, Joe Machine Gunner, who's like, I can clear 240 real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And so I landed on my feet fairly quickly. As far as finding work, I ended up going the government contractor route. And so I never really felt like I was really away from the service for that long, because I was in DC I started doing all kinds of government work at different various, I was at the Pentagon for a little while, and I was always around other military personnel who had gotten out. We all spoke the same language. Right. It was all, but over time, when I got out, like when I started to drift away from military personnel, it got harder and harder to keep up with for lack of a better word, keep up with the kids nowadays. It's like, when you're in the military and you see those old guys and they're wearing their Vietnam jackets and their Vietnam hat, and they're like, they're just waiting for somebody, please talk to me, please talk to me.
Yeah.
Never understood that. And then like, here we are 20 years down the road, and it's like, I totally fucking get it now. I totally get it.
Mm.
I'm trying not to be that guy, but I was on Fort Bragg not too long ago, and you better believe I bought one of those shirts like Fort Bragg 82nd. It's like, oh god, I'm that guy now.
Yeah. I
So-
served. It was like, yeah, we get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, but it's like it was a cool shirt. I was like, all right, cool. It wasn't too ostentatious. I was like, I need a shirt while I'm
Yeah.
here. But it was, I can see the over another 20 years from now, it'll be like just stopping strangers on the street. Did I tell you about the time I was in the service?
Sitting at the VFW, getting yourself a drink, talking about the good old days.
Let me tell you. Oh, let me tell you. It's like, oh, geez.
I had this captain once that he was.
Yeah.
So okay, so obviously, this transition obviously led you toward nonprofits. I mean, how did that? I'm curious the transition working, military, then working in like defense kind of area, and then there's a hard, sharp turn to nonprofits. How did that come about?
Right. So I was working in DC. I was making really good money at the time, and I was just kind of my driver in Iraq ended up getting out, and then like a lot of guys, they don't know what they're doing. They're like, I don't like it out here. They end up going back in, and he immediately got shot over to Afghanistan. So he was over there. He knew I had some connections to the games industry because at the time I was dabbling around like games journalism and writing a blog, and I had my own podcast and things like that, and just kind of doing this but in a much less professional kind of format.
Right.
Before everybody had a podcast. Everybody has a stream, everybody has something to promote. Now it was just like so I was doing my thing, and I had connections to the games industry, and this guy reached out to me and said, hey, do you know anybody? We could really use like an Xbox over here. We're kind of losing our minds. And I'm like, yeah, let me see what I can do. So I reached out to some of my contacts, and the response I got back was pretty dramatic, especially from a good friend of mine over at Activision. And he ended up sending, like, they had like a prize closet that was just gathering dust, and he boxed up like pallets of Guitar Hero bundles and DJ Hero bundles and all kinds of games, and sent it over to me. And it was like the first like, oh, there's something here. Maybe we could turn this into something. And so I boxed up a bunch of it and sent it to my boy overseas. He got it and then sent back a bunch of pictures of him and his unit. They were doing like a DJ Hero competition, smoking cigarettes, and they had stolen a briefing projector and they were shooting it across the back of a Connex somewhere. And it was just kind of like, very nice. So, of course, you tell freaking, Joe Snuffy that some jackass captain back home is sending Xboxes to guys. It didn't take long before we, suddenly, hey, I saw what you did for Jeff over here. Can you send me something? And I was like, I had more than enough to go around, and I had the money to kind of like, I'll buy you an Xbox. I don't care. I got plenty of money. I'm doing fine over here.
Yeah.
And so it turned into this thing. And next thing you know, I'm now the middleman between game studios and our boys forward. And it's like, suddenly I was like, hey, there's something here. And there were a couple other charities in the game space at the time, but nobody was really servicing veterans at all. And I was like, well, hell, I think I might be able to make a go of this. And then the universe kind of spoke. In 2012, I got laid off from my cushy ass desk job. And for anybody who's done government contracting, you can just bounce from contract to contract and just, here's another $10,000 bonus for signing on with Northrop Grumman or SAIC or Lockheed or any of these organizations. You just bounce from organization to organization and wherever the work is. And that dried up real fast. There was if anybody's ever done the government contracting work, it's usually like 10 government contractors to one government employee. And for whatever reason in 2012, they just said, you know what? No more government contractors. We're done with you guys. We're going to start bringing in government employees all the time. No more government contractors, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It takes them like 2 years to hire a government contractor. It takes a government contractor 3 weeks to get in. They can't keep up with the demand. But at the time, they were just like, no more government contractors. So I was out on my ass, and I thought, all right, well, this will last a couple weeks. I'll just go get another work. I'll just go get another job when this starts up again. And next thing I know, a year's gone by, and I still can't get work. And I'm like, okay. And meanwhile, I had been treating this weekend little charity gig that I was doing for funsies as like a full-time job. I was like putting my time and energy into it when I wasn't applying for other jobs.
Yeah.
I was treating the charity like work, and it started to really blow up, and it got a lot of gains. Like 500% increase. Like we raised 20 grand our first year, and then 100 grand the next year, and then 500 grand the next year. And it's like, what is going on here? Like this is going too well. So it really started blowing up, and I was like, you know what? I think we're going to make a go of this. And my wife gave me the blessing to like, yeah, go ahead. This obviously makes you very happy. And I was not happy at work. I was one of those guys that like Monday through Friday, doing my job, just thinking about the week, living for the weekends. Sunday night, you just, I got to wake up at 4, make the drive across 66 into DC and get to my job before the HOV lanes open up. And it's just, it was that the work was good, but it was just not enjoyable. I wasn't having fun.
It's not soul fulfilling. It's, you don't feel, it doesn't charge you up. It doesn't make you feel good.
Right. Whereas in the letters and thank you cards I was getting back from units and flags that people were flying and coins people were sending, like this was changed our lives over here. This was amazing. You couldn't done this. Is what you don't know what you've done for us. And this is like, whew, all right, this is really good. And it really, really latched onto me in a way. Like the person that I am today in 2020 was not the person I was in 2010. I will tell you that 100%. Like being a giving, charitable person that I was not back in the day, and now I am. Like I would not be able to recognize that guy back then. Right? But now it's like it is such a ingrained part of me. I think it's made me a better person overall.
Right.
And I've really enjoyed it. It's been great. I love what I do now, and I've got 10 staff members, and we're hiring on a couple more here for the fall. And it's even during COVID, things are going really. We're an online organization, so I mean it's
it plays to your wheelhouse.
Yeah, it kind of worked out beautifully. We give you some idea. We're working with the Center for Disease Control right now because they feel that veteran suicide is an epidemic, and they count it as a non-infectious disease.
Yeah.
And so the head of their non-infectious disease group got with us, and they said, we don't think we're gonna, we've done some work in the past. This is great, but we're gonna go ahead and cancel your grant for this year and maybe next year. But we just maybe don't see the value in what it is you're providing to veterans. And then a couple weeks later, she ended up calling up, and she's because of lockdown. And she was like, okay, my video game loving husband and I have been locked on the couch for the better part of a month and a half now, and we've been playing video games together, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it now. How do we get this restarted? We're so sorry. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, where people are, you go to a Best Buy or you go to like, I don't even know where else is out there, a Target, and you try to get an Xbox right now, and everything's sold out. Like you can't get a Switch or a Ring Fit or an Oculus headset or any of that stuff. Everything's gone. So it's because everybody's realizing the value of not only being able to stay motivated, stay in touch with other people, do something fun because you can't leave your house or shouldn't be leaving your house. Like a lot of you being bad boys and girls, wear your goddamn mask, wash your hands. Jesus Christ.
That's right. Yeah, even in so like doing this stuff, live streaming it's impossible to get a webcam, a camera, a microphone, Go XLR or Stream Deck, things that I use. I'm like, thank God I got in when I got in, because they price gouge the hell out of it. It's like, oh, this $40 webcam here, $600 because I have the only one.
I went to go get an XLR. I was like, oh, now that I'm at home, I should, I'm up, and I went and I built a new office during this time, because I was like, a little retail therapy, get out of my, and I was like, let me get one of these XLRs. How much those cost? $950 right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, they're price gouging everything.
We're going to go ahead and hold off on it.
A couple questions that came in. So from Mike says, so do you play games or do you just hook people up?
Oh, no, I play games. That's how this all started. They say do what you love. And the whole thing is like, I worked for another charity for a very short amount of time. It's called Extra Life, and it's about supporting kids in hospitals with video games. But I didn't have any kids. I didn't really have that connection to small children, small sick kids. And it was just like, it didn't really hit. But the veterans angle, and I'm a huge gamer. One of the pictures that I use during presentations when I'm like introducing myself is this great picture of me getting ready to deploy to Iraq. We're sitting on all of our deployment bags, and you can see that like I'm kind of leaned over, and you can see in my front upper breast pocket, like the Velcro pocket, you can see that there is a very clear Nintendo DS square outline in my pocket there, and it's like the perfect, like, this is who this guy is, because every chance he's gonna get, he's gonna go hide away in a porta john somewhere and fucking do 10 minutes of Final Fantasy Tactics while he's overseas. So I mean, that was a big piece of yeah. I'm a big gamer.
What are you playing nowadays?
Boy, I just fell backwards into 7 Days to Die, ironically, which is not, game looks like trash, but there's something about I just finished up Minecraft. I played like 5 minutes of Minecraft back in 2012 and was just like, this is a kiddie game. I'm just punching trees. This is stupid. But now in COVID times, it's this weird, like,
yeah,
I'm not thinking too hard about it, and I'm just like building this thing that's like, there's just something that's very Zen garden.
It's very Zen. Yes,
yeah.
it is.
So I literally, it's the funny thing, 6 months ago, I bought 7 Days to Die because somebody was like, oh, you should play this. And I was like, this looks like trash. Who would ever play this game? And I returned it on Steam because I was like, I'm never going to play. This is garbage. And I just re-downloaded it this week. And I'm like, oh, it's all I can think about right now. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know why.
Hey,
yeah, I'm a huge gamer. I can speak the lingo. I'm not just out there fundraising for vets. Like, and it helps. It goes a long way.
Right.
Because not only do I speak veteran, I speak gaming and gamer.
You're the interpreter.
Culture. Right. And that's a big piece. That's a big piece of why this organization is doing well for itself. Stack Up. Because, which I don't think we've even talked about it yet.
We haven't gotten to it yet.
The organization's name is Stack Up. And we have 4 main platforms. We have our supply crates, which you heard about, where we box up games and gear, send it overseas, or veterans struggling back home, veterans in military hospitals recovering, things like that. We have our aerosol program, which is kind of on hold right now, but it's where we think of it like Make-A-Wish, but for veterans. We take disabled or deserving veterans to various gaming events like E3, Comic-Con. CQ here can speak particularly about that because we took his moldy ass out to an E3 one year.
That was good.
Yeah, it was a great time. And then we have our Stacks program, which is our volunteer efforts. We got about 30 teams nationwide that kind of get out and do stuff in their community, kind of volunteer work. Obviously, that's on hold right now. No getting out of your houses. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is our 24/7 suicide prevention team online, our Overwatch program, which is on our Discord channel. We've got trained volunteers who know how to speak to veterans and de-escalate situations that are getting a little out of control. Folks that are, having a rough day and they need somebody to talk to, and maybe jump in a game or get them feeling like they're a part of a community. One of the big bullet points for veteran suicide is a lack of connectedness. A lot of veterans are in such a hurry to get out of the service. They go rocketing out, and then they realize, like, oh, I had a family back there that I just kind of left behind. And they get out and they realize the civilian sector doesn't give a shit about them. So they're 100% on their own, generally speaking. They go back home and everything's changed, and they feel alone. And that's where you start to get those creeping thoughts of, maybe I should just hang it up. And so Stack Up provides a lot of these folks that find our organization like a family. Well, I mean, we're just a gaming clan on top of it, where it's like we get a bunch of people together who the civilians who come in, we have well-meaning civilians that want to help out. And they may not be able to speak military, but they speak like, hey, let's set up a Destiny raid, or let's get, a tabletop game. Let's get some Dungeons and Dragons online going, or something like that together. And that's where our organization shines. It's being able to translate and get more people in here who might not be able to understand the military experience.
Right on. We have some very good vetrepreneurs in the audience too, as well. So one comment, I guess, is you need to teach a class on obtaining sponsorship and grants. Did you ever consider teaching a class?
Well, there's a part I just saw it the other day. It's like, I don't know how much of that we want to give away because it's so much of our secret sauce. We don't want to cut into our own bottom line, but at the same time, we don't get a lot of money from grants. We get a lot of money at the $5 and $10 level,
right?
Which we're very popular amongst military and gaming people. So we do a lot of events at gaming conventions and online through, game streams and things like that. We've hired out a grant writing team to help us build out grants, but it is definitely a bit of a fist fight for the amount of money we're outlaying to a grant writing organization versus how much we're bringing in. I don't know how some organizations live off of grants. I really don't. That seems like madness to me, but our organization is just shy of this should be our first $1 million year this year. And I'd say less than 10% of that is going to be grants, which is insane. But, but yeah,
that's incredible.
But yeah, if you have questions, I'm happy to help out. There is, I say that, we don't want to support others and we don't want to help out other organizations, but let's face it, there is enough money out there. We're $1 million organization. It's not going to, you're not going to dip into a perfect example is there are 7 million active Twitch streamers right now. And we get a lot of our money from Twitch fundraisers. So, but 7 million for our record breaking May fundraiser was $250,000. And that was 500 people. So it's out of 7 million active Twitch streamers, I think we can share a little bit. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to talk with anybody after this is over, or anybody that wants to reach out. We can sit down and get on a phone call. The funny thing is, I've been doing this so long, I realized that the value that I actually could bring to the table, if I decided to hang it up, and I'm just going to be a contractor. I'm going to be a
motivational speaker, or that guy they bring in.
Bring in a contractor, all right, we're going to get this thing set up, or this organization set up with fundraising, or just even administrative, all the hurdles that I've jumped through over the last 10 years to get this up and running to where it's at. And you kind of forget, it's that one foot in front of the other mindset where you just kind of walk and everything then you turn around and you're like, holy shit, I cannot believe it's been 10 years. This year will mark, by November, we'll have raised over $20 million for veterans, which is insane to think about, starting out raising 20 grand our first year.
Yeah.
So
just sending that one guy an Xbox.
Yeah. Sending a guy an Xbox.
And then
it all started from there.
It's the Forrest Gump where you're like, well, I'm just going to run.
I'm just going
and then however much time later you look back and there's 100,000 people following you.
Right.
And you're like, oh yeah, I think I'm done, man. That's a great analogy. I'm patting myself on the back for that. And apparently, so we're talking about games you play. People, I guess, were throwing in suggestions. We got you should try Subnautica. That was one.
Finished it. That was a great game. They did a really great, and they have a DLC coming out called Below Zero, which I'm waiting on them to finish. But that was an amazing survival game.
Yeah.
Well, you got some quality people listening in on this.
I tell you, these people, our people know this is Pop Culture Warrior. We know our shit.
See, and that's the thing. Even 10 years ago, you wouldn't have those people. It would be 10 years ago, even the games industry was a whole different ball of worms. And now everybody games. You can't get away from it. Everybody is a part of it.
Yeah.
You've got AOC over here talking about doing what the hell was she doing? She was doing Animal Crossing, and she did a commencement speech in Animal Crossing. It's that is where we're going.
Yeah.
The people who I deal with at the CEO level, I deal with 60 and 70-year-olds who are in charge of these Fortune 500 companies, and they're like, well, I don't get it. I don't get gaming.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about my 21-year-old son. Oh my God, it's all he does. It's all he talks about.
My grandkids, they're always on the tablets. Yeah.
And those are the kids that are going to be taking that position from that dude. So when, we're just a little ahead of the power curve. But when that 21-year-old gets old enough to take over the company, he's going to be like, oh, we need to do gaming stuff. Gaming stuff's cool. And we're positioning ourselves into this area where it's every year that goes by, there's more and more people in positions of power that play video games. Even our Secretary of Defense, Esper, now, I've been hearing not a lot of great stuff from him, but just recently I heard he went out of his way to bring on the Air Force esports team because he's a gamer. He wanted to do something with them because he went out of his way specifically to work with that crew. And it was once I heard that, I'm like, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's the guy I need to have a conversation with. I need to sit down with that guy.
I'm sure you do, because I've been not hearing a lot of great things about him. But the handling of COVID and the vets for the Veterans Administration, things like that. I've been watching Paul Rykoff just jump up and down on his throat for the last couple months.
That's awesome. We had a comment where I guess we were talking about the places you go with the air assaults. Someone added, Chris says, you need to add DEFCON to the list of places to go.
DEFCON?
Yeah, that's
or
new
is he
to
saying
me.
DEFCON like the Las Vegas hacker convention, or is he talking Death DEATH con?
DETHCON.
I don't
Death.
know what that's.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Death Clock.
yeah.
Like
Chris, if you're out there,
Metal
man, can you
Rockforks?
explain DEFCON? Shoot us a link. We'll take a look.
But yeah, we do a lot of the major conventions. We do Comic Cons, we do E3s. This was going to be our first overseas year. We were looking to take a squad of air assaults to either PAX Australia or Gamescom in Germany.
Oh, nice.
Because we're trying to
Expand.
we're expanding, and we're getting to the point where it's like, all right, there's only so many times we can do Comic Con or E3 before it's like, okay, let's do something that really hits these guys. No, have you ever been to Cologne, Germany? No? Okay. Maybe you flew through there on your way to Iraq
Right.
or on the way back, but you've never been to Germany. Let's take your ass to Germany.
Yeah.
So we want to make, obviously it's much more expensive, but we're at that point where it's like, let's mix it up.
You can stretch your legs a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
really. It's not when you're pinching pennies. You're like, oh man, like, do we really need the deluxe pizza at this meal, or should we get the smaller?
I was that guy. I was definitely that guy. Like, it blows my mind that we can have, like, I remember the days when we were doing gypsy camps. We would go to these events, and this was before air assaults were a thing. But I mean, we would literally be 15, 16 people in a single hotel room, just camped on top of each other.
Right.
Typical military grunt shit that I was fine with. But you get these kids that are like, well, I could either get a room for the weekend for $400, or I could split it 15 ways.
Yeah.
And that's more, and it's like, maybe I could buy some, Funko Pops or whatever,
Right.
it's like, so, and then the idea of having, like, getting, multiple Airbnbs for a single event and, housing, 20, 30 people at these events, it's just mind blowing, like, that we're at that level, but we're there now. And it's so the responses we get from the veterans that we take these. Well, you talk here. You tell what did you think of going to E3?
No, my experience was amazing with Stack Up, in the sense that, like, I don't even remember how I heard about it. I really don't. Somebody said something or posted something on Facebook, and I was like, oh, cool. I like gaming. I'm a veteran. And I scrolled, and then they're like, yeah, we take people this and we do this. And I was like, huh. I clicked here, and I'm like, and yes, I'm a disabled vet, so I get that, there's a lot of organizations helping out disabled vets. But what did strike me, and I was just talking with the guys behind the scenes, I said that it's one of the few organizations that, like, really does, like, hey, if you're active duty, we got you. If you're veteran, we got you. If you're disabled veteran, we got you. Like, it doesn't really segregate and say, like, look, since you didn't get shot, you don't get shit. Like, it really does open the doors to everybody.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because that was one of the things that I didn't even think about until we started working with disabled veterans, that there are some disabled veterans out there that every single weekend they could be going on a different fishing trip or expedition, or, hey, we're going to get you a house. We're going to buy you this. We're going to get you a truck. We're going to get and then you take them to E3 and they're just like, all right, well, I got another one next weekend. So, hey, thanks. You guys were awesome. But
put it in my truck. Yeah,
right, exactly. Yeah, it's like my gold-plated truck. And I'm like, please do not think I'm disrespecting disabled veterans.
No.
But at the same time, there are veterans that just have that shit taken care for them at this point.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that because we've definitely gotten a lot better with reaching out to veterans who, like, hey, they just did their time. Like, they might not be missing like 3 or 4 limbs, but they just have an honorable discharge, and they said they wanted to go.
I know guys who did 8 combat tours, like literally were carrying bodies, but because they weren't blown up or shot, or they were this close from dying, but because they made it, guess what? They got out, and now they're working construction, and they don't get shit.
Exactly. You get a slap on the ass. Thanks for your service. And that's those stories right there. I love hearing those stories, because those are the guys. That's the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory kid I want to hook up.
Yeah.
Like, that's the guy I want to be like, hey man, you kind of got screwed doing the right thing. Like, you got out, you dodged literally all the bullets. Like, let's do something for you. And and that's the nice thing about being an independent organization. We can do that. We can just go, we don't have
you don't answer to anybody.
Yeah. It's so nice. So yeah, when we get stories like that, I absolutely go out of my way to go, no, that guy.
Yeah, we got Daniel in the chats. He says the unsung heroes, the guys that they're not going to get the movie made about them. They're not going to get the thing, but they served. They did everything was asked of them. They probably bitched and moaned about it because we all did, but you know they walked away and you know that I never liked that. I never liked the idea, and I'm a disabled vet, and I never liked the idea that another guy who I served with, who I bled with, who was patching me up, should be struggling. Because
and that's the crazy part is a lot. I mean, how many guys out there do their time, they get out, and it's like you don't get shit. Like then you end up having to fight your ass off with the VA to just get basic service or basic, anything. And it turns into this like, okay, we're gonna make you work for it over the next 5 to 10 years. You're gonna have to fight with us, and maybe eventually you'll get a nice payday. But it's ridiculous. Like I imagine the number of veterans that just kind of throw their hands up and go, you know what? I don't need this grief.
Yeah. I know so many guys who just give up. They just give up. And I don't mean that in the suicide man. I mean, like, they're like, oh, I tried applying for benefits or I tried to, but I didn't want to fight. Like, I'm done with and they give up. And I tell people all the time, like, that's kind of what they want. They want you to give up because it saves them money and time and energy. But anyway, let's positive note here. So a question came in. They said, do you guys do tournaments, have plans to do tournaments, or even do things where like somebody could win a tournament, maybe get an Xbox or something along those lines?
We've done random giveaways and stuff like that. Tournaments are particularly tricky to run because, especially all online stuff, I mean, they happen, but we've gone down the tournament route before, and the level of grief that you have to go through, as opposed to just having a giveaway, and just being go, hey, here's an Xbox. I don't want to hear about how your connection didn't work and your controller was broken and this guy didn't do this and this guy didn't showed up 10 minutes late, so technically he's disqualified. Just take the Xbox. Just here.
That's smart.
There's a level of we're just gonna, because trust me, we went down that. I mean, of course, esports, right? The whole world's about esports right now. The world is on fire with esports.
Yeah, everybody
wants to be like Korea and China over there with like, I'm trying to think of the name of the Madison Square Garden and having, the Dota 2 tournaments, finals there and things like that. Yeah. And I love all that, but that entire scene is such a drain of like trying to get anything out of that community. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
So we don't have the infrastructure in place to do like tournaments. I'm sure if we had something like that, it'd be fun. Yeah. But we just get our folks get together and game on occasion. A couple of them will play Destiny, a couple of them will jump on Tabletop Simulator, and we'll just have a couple of people playing stuff. But official stuff now, we don't do that.
Remind me, man, offline we gotta chat about something. I got a connection. I might wanna.
Here we go.
I got a guy. I got a guy. We'll talk. Something I think you'll like. But okay, so that answers that one. Chad in the chat says Historicon. He says there's a historic wargaming convention, I guess it is. Historicon. Maybe that's something to check out in the future. Historicon.
I mean, a little outside
never heard of it.
A little outside of our purview. I mean, I'm not.
I guess it's like tabletop gaming. I mean, that kind of.
Oh no, that's different then. I thought it was like, this is
historic wargaming. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I think that's what it is. I'm not. I don't know. I'm based off the chat. I see.
We recently, well, not recently. It's been over a year now. But we went to PAX. What the hell was it called? I forgot what they called it. Oh God, this is embarrassing. I used to know all this stuff on the top of my head. It was the table. I think it's called PAX Tabletop or something like that. But they recently, like a year ago, they did PAX. I can't think what it's called, but it's like PAX Tabletop sessions, and it's like Dungeons and Dragons. It's all the crazy, super duper $200 board games, and like all of that goes there. That ended up being a lot of fun, but we had it was tough to find somebody that wanted to go to that.
Right.
Usually it's E3, Comic-Con, the
big ones.
The big ones.
The sexy ones.
I want to go play Settlers of Catan by myself with two people that I know all weekend. It's like, okay.
What was
that said? That said, there's definitely like we've done a lot of work with a lot of tabletop gaming, especially tabletop RPG. We've done events with Critical Role. We've done and we're trying to do stuff with Hyper RPG right now, but we're working on building out relationships, because there are so many opportunities to utilize Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop gaming as a form of therapy for guys. So I don't have my hands as around that form, but there are definitely a couple folks out there in the industry specifically utilizing, Dungeons and Dragons and as therapy for vets.
I know a few guys. I know a few vets that they're serious about the tabletop gaming, and like that's not, I don't want to say escapisms because that sounds kind of wrong, but it's a way of just having control over a certain situation, and it just helps them process things and function better in life.
Absolutely. You're talking with other individuals. You have to maintain like a character. You have to interact with other people. You have to, think logically and think strategically. And I mean, there's a lot of value to it. You have to, role playing. I mean, you're in essence doing what you would be doing in a therapy session, except this is a lot more fun, which is why gaming works out. I mean, that's like, hey, it's 3 a.m. You're on your opioids. You can't sleep. That the VA prescribed you, and it's like, all right, well, what are you going to do for the next 6 hours until your therapist wakes up? Okay, well, I guess I'll jump in a game and try to just grind through those 6 hours playing something like Ghost of Tsushima or something, like just something to take your mind out of where you're at right then and there. And gaming is that thing. Like you can set it up anytime, you can be by yourself, and you can just get lost in the world. That works out beautifully.
So I know you guys have a Discord. Is it open to the public? Is it private?
Absolutely. Nope.
Okay, cool.
It's just discord.gg, stackup.org, all spelled out.
Stackup.org.
It's
we'll have somebody throw it in the chats.
Yeah.
There's people that do this. They monitor. But guys, put it in the Discord, in the chat. So that's awesome. So that way people can connect with you guys and be parts of that.
And that is also, the Discord is where our suicide prevention team is at as well. So if somebody really needs to talk, like right now, that's where you send our folks. And you show up in general, you just go, hey, I need to talk to somebody. And somebody grabs your ass and takes you off to a little corner and we have a little chat.
Very cool.
So,
very cool.
Yep.
So we're running short on time. I don't want to keep you too long. Let me ask you this.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I know, right? That's because it's fun. You're having a good time. So really, I want to give you the chance. I want you to brag a bit. I want you to flex a bit. What's been the highlight, right? And I know the cliche answer is it's helping the guys, but for you personally, besides the charitable part of it, like what's been that moment where you were just like, oh my God, I can't believe we did this, right? What was that highlight, that like, holy shit, that just happened?
See, that's the unfortunate part of doing what I do. Like I have to live vicariously through other people. I think actually one of the guys we took to PAX East, Penny Arcade Expo East, Boston, just saw the show floor from an elevated position and he just started crying. And like, that was like the first time in a long time I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Because I had done it so many times. Like I had been going for like almost 10 years at that point. So I was like, all right, and here's the floor and here's where you get food. And here's everything. And he starts crying in front of me. He's like, oh, that's right. This is pretty, because that was the impact it had on me back in the first time I went to a PAX East in 2010 or 2011. Actually, my first one was a PAX Prime in Seattle, and seeing like 50,000 screaming video game fans all in the same place. Like, that was the first time like I felt truly like I'm not alone anymore, and that was and I think that was kind of me seeing that coming off of him. It was inspiring again, but it's crazy because as the guy at the top, I don't get those moments of real celebration. Like I don't know if I'll never like throw my fist in the air like woo. It's like okay, that happened. What's happening next? What could have gone wrong? What could have gone better?
Right.
Everybody made it out of that okay. We're okay. There's no media backlash. We're not going to show up on the front page of Kotaku or the Post. Okay, good. What's the next thing? And then so it's always this mentality of okay, that went well, good, great. Let's keep moving. So I don't know. I haven't had that moment yet. Outside of what I just told you. Yeah. Some of the responses we get back from the folks who have gotten help from us, like. I think one of the big ones was the suicide prevention team that we have online. I get, I am HIPAA certified, which is I can't even think of what it's called, but it's more or less the privacy Act,
the privacy Act.
like so we get everybody's information prior to showing up to our Discord. So if they decide to do something, and then they literally sign off and say, "Hey, we're not responsible for anything that happens to you. We're going to help. We're just a bunch of God-fearing jackasses over here trying to help out. Don't take us to court, but check this block and we'll move forward. But I get a report on some of that. And the first time I think I got a report on some of the veterans we were hearing stories back from, you have a certain like level, like this is where you are at in your life. Like you wake up, you go to work, you do whatever, you're married, you have this many kids, everything's normal. And then you see somebody who's going through life in a traumatically different way. Like, all right, I was living at a hotel with my meth-addled girlfriend and she just lost control of her kids and the cops are beating on the door. And it's just like, oh, holy shit. Okay. It makes you appreciate what you have. And I know it sounds like a weird thing to be like, boy, I could have it much worse. Yeah. But the people that we are helping out on a level, it's just, you don't even, it's amazing that we're able to support folks like that. And just seeing some of the folks that we were helping and getting their full stories and seeing some of the feedback and going, geez, I don't even know how good we have it compared to some of these folks that really need our help. You're getting pictures of guys sending in like, hey, this PS2 that I've been using for the last 15 years, it finally died and I can't afford a new one. It would be great. Just hearing these real sob stories of guys that need help. And, even just like, oh, we recently hooked up a pair of tankers out of Texas and they were on separate sides of the state, but they hadn't talked to each other outside of like phone calls. They hadn't like interacted. They hadn't visited each other in like, I don't know, a decade or so. And they're like, boy, it would be great. It would be really cool if we could play games together on an Xbox or something. So we got them both Xboxes and the response, it's just the individuals. There are too many individual stories to talk about that just like it warms your heart, but it's this like constant flow of, oh, okay, that was good. Okay, that was good. Okay, that was good. No problems, no problems, no problems. Everything's good. It's kind of like going down a lineup of an inspection where it's like, okay, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. Everything's fine. It looks great. Cool. Okay, on to the next thing. So, but yeah, I haven't had any of those big like, holy shit, this changed everything. Like, I don't know.
I feel bad for you.
I think. Well, it's in a good way.
What a terrible problem to have, right? When he's like, well, we're just doing the next thing.
Everything is 10% better every year, and that's hard to be like, woo. I think our Ninja partnership was really cool. That was like one of those, oh shit, here we go. Yeah. Where they just reached out to us and like, hey, we're gonna help you this year. It was like,
like
okay.
Whoa, yeah.
Now it didn't turn out to be like this game-changing thing because I'm sure he must grind through charity organizations like every day.
So I've heard.
But it was, I imagine, like, but the fact they reached out to us and said, hey, that meant that somebody did the research, said, you guys are the veterans we want to work with. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. Like the CDC conference, working with the Center for, like, there's a lot of like higher tier stuff, but the fact that we're working with the Center for Disease Control because they're trying to figure out how to utilize gaming as a therapy and they want to work with us, it's like that's exciting. So I mean, on different levels, there's like wins in the wins category that are just like, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But I'm still waiting for I don't know what that is. I don't know if that ever gets there.
So okay, we have one comment in the chats. It says that that it's so huge that you guys have a suicide prevention team on the Discord. Is it staffed 24/7?
Yes, it's absolutely staffed 24/7. One of our trained volunteers is over in the UK, so her timeline, she's 8 hours ahead of us right there. But yeah, we're 24/7. We have paid volunteers that are on all times to make sure that if anybody needs help, they're ready to go. Yeah, primarily because I'm not too proud to admit it, but I called the Veteran Suicide Hotline once upon a time, and I was put on hold for 20 minutes. And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, this is not going to cut it. Yeah. So I knew when we're a small organization. I'm sure those people are getting bombarded, especially now. My God, like our numbers have been insane the last couple months because of COVID and everything just being 20% harder. But I can only imagine. I mean, the number of suicides that have jumped up in this country because of COVID. People losing their jobs, people losing their livelihoods, closing businesses down,
being stuck with their families,
divorces. Being like, well, I don't want to deal with you anymore. Yeah. It's so I can only imagine. Like, so when we started this thing, I wanted to make sure we need to have somebody on at all times. I don't want anybody waiting for anybody. Right. Period. Yeah. And I am very cognizant when somebody comes in our general chat and goes, hey, I could really use somebody to talk to. And I'm literally like, I will watch that timer like, okay, let's see how long it takes for somebody to jump on this guy. And we've got a pretty good response time. I'd say within like a minute or two, somebody will pop in there like, okay, cool. All right,
That's
I go
awesome.
back to work.
That's awesome.
So
We got one guy in the chat said, any chance you have an extra gaming PC lying around? Because as he said,
funny you mentioned that.
mine's being held together by 90-mile-an-hour tape right now. That's what he says.
90 mile, not even 100 miles.
Not even 100. It's the generic 100-mile-an-hour tape. 90 mile.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned that. We have a program called Vetrofit, which is us outfitting people with PCs. So we're working with Blizzard Entertainment because they are not doing BlizzCon this year. They have a pile of PCs that they are donating to us because they have a veterans organization within Blizzard that just deals with veterans. They wanted to work with us this year, and this is one of the ways that they're helping out. Now, we usually only do like one a quarter as far as Vetrofits because they're prohibitively expensive and they're a pain in the butt. But this looks like we could be getting, a couple dozen machines in. So if you want to send in your information and get it over to CQ here or the organization, they can send it over to, or you know what, just if you want to head over to
Don't send it to me. Please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't send it to me.
What? Let's not do that. Head over to stackup.org, fill out a contact request, and just say, hey, I heard you guys on WTF Nation, and I could use a new machine. I heard you guys do Vetrofits or however you want to. My computer's falling apart or whatever. We're here to help. Now, no guarantees. We're not.
No promises.
Not Amazon. We're not Amazon. We're not going to just show up and be like, all right, here's a new machine in 2 days. It's going to be a while. Like BlizzCon is supposed to be in November, so we're still over here waiting for the gear. Yeah. But we will have a glut of machines here, and it sounds like you've waited a long time anyway, so you can wait a little bit longer. But we could probably take care of you. I
can speak. The Floridian, that's you. I can speak. He's a veteran, and in his streams when he's streaming, he talks about veteran issues and has other veterans on, and they talk about things like PTSD and suicide, and it's actually a really good streamer. If you guys check out Floridian, he's out there. He's doing his thing. One of the guys said the face I made when you said send it to CQ. I made this face where I was like, no, don't send it to CQ. No. But no, that's fantastic, man. I mean, you guys really do awesome work. It is very niche, right? I mean, let's be honest. So I've talked about Wounded Warrior Project in the past, and it's a very large, overreaching. There's a lot of things, and your organization is laser focused, where theirs is general and kind of touches a lot of things. Yours is very specifically focused to this thing, and you guys do it well. And that's what's important. And again, unlike other organizations, I big kudos to you that you guys do try to open your doors to everyone and not be as selective over who you help and because of their service, right? I've dealt with organizations that literally wouldn't talk to me because I wasn't an amputee. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow. And then there was one where it's like, did you get wounded in Iraq from this year to this year? And I was like, well, no, I was wounded in Afghanistan. Like, yeah, no, we only service Iraqi wounded veterans from this year. They're like, wow, that's a little too specific, man.
Well, I'm sure, coming from the administrative side of the house, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure they're getting their funding from some organization where it's like, okay, we're supporting Iraq vets for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't know why you would split the fucking atom down the okay, amputees only. This is amputeesonly.com.
Yeah.
It's like what?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird, but you know what? I don't know what
to
those
each their
are.
own. Yeah.
Exactly. 100%.
They were taking people scuba diving. That was so weird. I'm like, specifically scuba diving, specifically amputee,
and go scuba diving.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the thing was, man. And yes, I technically on my paperwork, you're correct. I am an amputee. I like on my medical paperwork, it has. I don't ever say I'm an amputee because I don't claim the joke that I deal with what these guys really deal with.
Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm sure it's a media thing. Where it's like, hey, we can't have pictures of and you know what? I'm guilty of that too. There was a part of me that's like when we were doing these air assaults, it was a little weird us bringing here's our disabled or deserving veterans.
And everybody looks fine.
I had to literally go disabled and deserving because it was one of those things where it's like he looks fine. It's like okay, should I go shoot him in the in the kneecap here? And would that work for you? It's like
I get that all the time. That I'm not a disabled vet.
there's a pretty good chance that any media that they would get from you coming out there, they'd be like, well, he looks fine. And you're an amputee group, like, what the fuck? So I kind of see where they're coming from.
No,
That said,
I get that.
That's still shitty.
Yes,
it's like
it's
if you have
jacked
to
up.
explain to a donor, well, no, he's not an amputee, but he was shot, and they're like, well, it doesn't obviously look like it. It's like, well, you're a terrible person. Then I don't know what to tell you. So
it's true. You know,
but I mean, there's something to be said for your Sheryl Crow in the eyes of an angel, 3 a.m. infomercials where you show the the veteran who's hobbling on his missing legs, and would you want to spend some money on this guy? It's like, yes. So I get it. I totally understand.
You put some prosthetics and long pants on guys missing legs. You don't look. You look fine too.
I will. You know what? I have had those moments where I have told folks that we have brought on air assaults. I'm like, hey man, could you maybe wear a pair of shorts or something? Like people. This is in the early days when I was like,
right.
I didn't.
You gotta sell it. I mean,
yeah. I was like, hey, we're telling people these are disabled vets and they look fine.
No,
like,
there's
look down past the cuff of his 511. It's like it's all fucking metal, but it's just like, who's gonna look down there? It's like, so there was that was like 2014, 2015 before I was like, you know what? Fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm in charge. If you have a problem with it, you can take it up the chain. Oh, I am at the top of the chain. Fuck you.
Yeah, you want to look like an ass when you call us out, and then we're like, okay, everybody drop trowel and let's start seeing those war wounds. And you're like, whoa, okay, now I'm the asshole.
Hey, you're quite familiar with how the internet works. You don't need proof. Proof and truth doesn't always mean it, especially in this, this day and age. It should be like, they're not even helping disabled veterans. It's like, well, technically, sir. You're like, no, you don't know. It's like, okay, then you know better than I do. Okay, roger that.
Yeah, no kidding.
You just can't win with the internet sometimes.
That's true. So, okay, once and for all, guys, check out Stack Up. Here, I give my guys 30 seconds to say whatever it is you want to say. Do you promote your thing? If you have anything upcoming that you want to highlight or sell, like, this is your chance. I'll give you the spotlight's yours right now, sir.
Well, it's plain and simple. Stackup.org is the name of the organization. Head on over there. We're the red shirts. Head on over there. If you have any questions, you want to find out more details, fire off a contact form, or you can head over to our Discord at discord.gg/stackup.org, all spelled out. Head on over there, join our community, say hey, get some gaming on together, and join us up. And if you need help or you know somebody that needs help, let them know about our suicide prevention team, the Overwatch program. There's a button on the lower right-hand corner of the webpage when you come in. It literally just will take you right to the right page and you can get help. So, and that's us.
Fantastic. Awesome. Guys, give it up for our good friend, Steven Machuga.
There you go.
Yes,
Did it.
nailed it.
So proud. So proud of you.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Hang on a second. I'm gonna send us to break and we'll let you go. Guys, we'll be back in a few minutes with more show. See you after the break.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio. You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
It's Friday night and I'm feeling low, and you're the reason that I do so. I'll keep on drinking till I comatose, or I pass out on the floor. You got me staring out the window, 8 hours late and you're a no-show. Where I'm from, that's called a no-go. I guess I should have known. I'm sleeping with one eye open, hoping to make it whole. You're always on my mind, but right here, right now, I fading out. Serious shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen right around, pushing through. Skin is brown. Nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life that's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Constellation theme, mapping stars they're meant to be. Geminis are free of suicidal kings. This misty maze of me, so obvious yet never seen.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
And we're back. We got a couple more stories for you guys. Hang in there with us. Radar, now's your chance to talk. What'd you think of Steven?
Man, he's fucking awesome, dude. I'm sitting here, I'm like, wish I could fucking get a brand new Xbox or brand new computer, but no, it's good, dude. I'm happy. Whenever people come up, like, and help, not just like all the Joes, dude. Because, like, you know, I went through the Wounded Warrior project deal, you know, the AW2 program and all that shit, and you know, they're always like, oh, hey, talk to these dudes, and you can get like all this free shit, and I didn't do a lot of that stuff. I mean, we went to like Park City, Utah a couple times, shit like that, but for the most part, I didn't do a lot of that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But
it's a great organization.
Like you were saying, like, you know, you and I kind of been through a lot of the same shit, so we can like flash a Purple Heart around and get all kinds of free shit. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Where, you know, other dudes who just kind of went, the medic, for example, who pulled me away from a burning truck, like, can't get dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The medic
Like,
that patched me up saved my life, man. I was bleeding out. Saved my life. Or the other Joes that were there that dragged me to the chopper, man. You know, they're struggling.
Yep. They need an Xbox too.
That's right. So that's why I wanted to bring him on, just because I know, whereas most organizations, you know, only help disabled veterans, whatever. This is something that anybody listening, if you're a veteran, if you're an active duty, or if you know someone who's a veteran, they're eligible. Apply. One thing we didn't talk about, and we were just chatting real quick offline, they have an initiative coming up in November. It's like the 100 Heroes Initiative, where you basically just write why you need one or why you want one, and they're gonna hook up like 100 people with, I think it's like Xboxes, or I don't know if it's consoles and Nintendo Switches and things like that. So you know, check out their page, keep tuned with what's going on, and maybe sometime in November we'll have them back on and talk about the 100 Heroes Initiative that they're gonna do, and apply. Get yourself a new Xbox, man. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this, dude, and I don't want to sound like a dick. I don't want to sound like an elitist or some shit. But I can afford a new Xbox.
And that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, there are those people that are fine and could easily afford it and just want free shit, and that's fine. But there are those people that could use it. You know, I know guys that got 3-4 kids and are more concerned about putting food in their kids' mouths than their own entertainment budget. You know what I mean? And so. Yeah, for them, I hope they apply.
Give those guys a free Xbox. You know what I mean? Give those guys a new PlayStation or whatever.
There you go.
Plus, that'd be my luck too. We've been sitting here for like how many months talking about the new Xbox coming out, and I fucking win a new PlayStation. Like, God damn it. No, but in all seriousness, and that's the same way, dude. Like, I have really good, you know, I got TRICARE for life, so I don't go to the VA. I don't need to take up a VA spot. You know, let someone who doesn't have that. That is their healthcare. Let them go to the VA.
Yeah.
You know, not saying the VA doesn't provide excellent service sometimes, but leave it to people who need it more than I do. You know, and
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, so if you're out there and you need a new Xbox
Yeah.
or want a new Xbox,
If you are a
whatever,
veteran and
you
you feel that you want one, and for whatever reason you can't get it for yourself, apply. I mean, put it in the thing, man. It's honestly when I signed up to do, it was the air assault. I want to say I kind of did it as a lark. Like, I mean, knowing that I'm a disabled vet, that yes, a lot of times I get stuff or I get treatment or whatever. But I was just like, man, I would love to go to a Comic Con. I would love to go to E3. That's not something I'm gonna ever pay for myself. I mean, if I put the money aside and saved and saved and saved, yeah, I could eventually afford to do it. Yes, but it's not something when there's so, I have wife, I have kid, I have, how I like, there's so many other things. It's never going to be in my mind to like, I'm going to go treat myself to go to E3. So I just put my name in, and a couple months later I got contacted, and it happened. So,
right? Well, and some shit
you
like
know,
that, dude. I'll sign up for that. All right, like I said, I signed up. We did some Park City, Utah is like a big skiing snowboard fucking thing, right? We went up there a couple times. That was fucking amazing, dude. That was so cool. Like, I'll never fuck do that on my own. I could never afford to do that shit on my own with how many kids I got and all that shit.
yeah. Well,
But that was not only open to disabled vets. It was open to like all vets.
yeah,
Anyone can do
exactly.
it. Whatever. I can justify anything. Oh, I fucking did it.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, suck it. But but I mean, like, in that same breath, like, there are certain things, like you said, like the Comic Con, and there's people who like take us to Super Bowl and shit like
Yeah.
that. I'll never take a Super Bowl. I mean, if I win, I'm doing some shit like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, really, dude, like I don't know. Like I said, I'm fortunate enough. I've been blessed enough that I can drop $500 on an Xbox if I want.
Yeah. Which this new
So
one
I
looks like
won't
it's gonna be
I
about
won't
600, but yeah.
Whatever. I won't enter in. I mean, fuck. I just got a $2,500 mountain bike for my birthday. You know what I mean? Like, if I can do some stupid shit like that,
Hashtag humble brag.
right? Fucking hashtag blessed. Holla. But I mean, but in all fairness, like, I know there's dudes who can't. Like, and I'm whatever. I have been lucky with what I've got, and so I don't try to take away from others. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Of course, of course. We got a question in the chats real quick. Mike says, "Will Agent Coulson return to Marvel movies?" Yes. So, for those that watch, Agents of Shield, the last episode aired last week. I'm so sad. I really think their last season was probably their best season. It got better after I think season 3. Because the first 2 or 3 seasons they were really trying to tie into the Marvel movie universe, and it felt so forced and it felt so constrained. Once they let that shit go and they said, you know what, the movies are doing that, we're going to do our own thing, that show got way better. And this last season was phenomenal. So now the question is, now that that show's done, will we see Agent Coulson in Marvel movies? I seriously doubt it. As much as I would love it, I seriously doubt it. I think Clark Gregg as an actor is I think he's trying to get more into directing and producing and doing other things. And I'm sure he's been playing Agent Coulson since 2010. That's 10 years. He's been playing the same character, different versions of the character, depending on which story you're watching, whatever, but more or less the same character. I think the guy, as an actor, I think at that point you've probably made enough money and you just want to do something different. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the last we see of Agent Coulson in the Marvel Universe. That's just my opinion, though. Maybe one day we'll get to ask him himself. I don't know. So real quick, I just wanted to. This was such a cool story. I didn't want to hang up today without covering it. So we're gonna switch over to WTF news of the week. I really need jingles for this stuff.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard this. Have you heard that a heartbeat was detected in cosmic gas cloud in space?
What?
Yes. Okay. All right. You haven't heard this. This is insanity. And the reason I think it's funny, most people are like, look, the way 2020 is going, fucking Galactus is going to come and eat us all. Like, that's what's happening. But this is really true. A recent report from the Cosmos on Monday, an article from The Independent went viral. It reported that a heartbeat has been detected from a cosmic gas cloud about 15,000 light years away from us. The finding was discovered after researchers looked at a decade worth of data from NASA's Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope and found that the gas cloud seemed to be beating along with the rhythm from a nearby black hole. So they said finding such an unambiguous connection via timing about 100 light years away from the micro quasar, not even along the direction of the jets, is as unexpected as amazing. I don't understand any of that, but whatever. That's some researcher talking. But how the black hole can power the gas cloud's heartbeat is still unclear to us. The news of a cosmic heartbeat being heard in space has obviously elicited a lot of different responses online, with many assuming this means it's some sort of extraterrestrial overlord could be on his way to Earth, subsequently making 2020 a lot more eventful. Obviously, for Marvel fans, the conversation has taken an interesting direction because everybody's joking that it's the coming of Galactus, the cosmic villain from, the Marvel universe. So cosmic heartbeat found in space. Thoughts, sir?
Well, I mean, my heartbeat helps power my cosmic gas. Just saying. No, I mean, dude, man, this is what's really cool about everything that's happened in the last, I'm going to say 10, 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Since how much they are really starting to learn about outer space. I'm happy about it. I'm so happy at all of it. Now, do I think Galactus is coming? No. Sorry about it. we can pray. I mean, hey, it is. Look at all this just happened so far, 2020. You never know. Pretty sure about it. It's not happening though.
Yeah. Could it be signs of I was gonna say artificial, extraterrestrial life?
Fucking probably.
Could be, right?
Could be. I mean, I'm not gonna discount that. I'm not gonna say no. But realistically, they're already at Area 51, so
Chris said, first, you don't have to worry until we see the Silver Surfer. That's true. That's the Herald of Galactus, right? But he says it's probably a neutron star reverberation. Well, you know more about this than we do then, because I don't know what any of those words mean. Maybe star. That's about it.
I knew they could reverberate her neutron star. It was pretty amazing.
All right, one more story. So this was actually cool. I like this. So we know the XFL, right? The WWE bought out fake football league that came in 2000, fell after 1 year. Then they just tried to bring it back, and honestly was worth watching until COVID happened. And because of COVID, like they were day to day with their funding. Like they were like they needed the games to make the money to make the next game happen. So once COVID shut everything down, they went bankrupt. Right? So that's right. The XFL. So in recent news, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson bought the XFL out of bankruptcy. So it says here Dwayne Johnson is now one of the new owners of the XFL. The actor, producer, former WWE star, is part of a group that purchased the failing football league founded by Vince McMahon of WWE. Johnson, who played football at the University of Miami before his professional wrestling career, teamed up with Gary Cardellini from Redbird Capital to buy the league hours before it was to go up for auction. Oops, shit, I lost the story. Hang on a second, my bad. Where did the story go? There it is. All right. So yeah, bought it just hours before it was set to go up for auction. The two parties split the $15 million needed to purchase the league. So Danny Garcia, Johnson's business partner, who is also his ex-wife, by the way, is also a stakeholder in the league. They said and then they talk a lot about like why this is going to be great and it's going to be awesome. This is an awesome outcome. Jeffrey Pollock, who's the XFL president and COO, said we're grateful for the outcome. This is a Hollywood ending to our sales process, a new chapter for the league. Dwayne, Danny, Gary, our dream team ownership group, and the XFL is in the best possible hands going forward. So yeah, I mean, I mean, if Johnson and his partners plan to revitalize the XFL for play, they will most likely need to start from the ground up, beginning wherever the coronavirus pandemic is under control. Several XFL players have already been signed to play in the NFL. So quarterback PJ Walker is now with the Carolina Panthers. Quarterback Jordan Tamau is with the Kansas City Chiefs. Defensive back Dietrich Nichols is with the New Orleans Saints. And defensive back Dravon Askew is with the New York Giants. So, I'm curious, what with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his business partners running the XFL, do you think it is something to get excited about moving forward?
Yes.
Let me ask you this, because when they did it in 2000, it was very spectacle heavy. Like the focus wasn't on football; it was on the spectics of it, like the all the other crap. And then when they did it now in the 2020 era, it was much more about the football. There was still a lot, celebration stuff like that, but it was very focused on the football, and I thought it was good. Where on that spectrum do you sit as a fan? Do you want more like the spectacle of it, or do you want closer to what the NFL is doing, or somewhere in the middle?
See, okay. I don't hate the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I watch football. I like football. I like to watch football just fine. Spectacle. I don't want to watch the NBA. I don't want to watch the NBA Jam live action NBA Jam.
NFL Blitz, man, that was the shit back in the day.
I don't want to watch that. But I think there's a happy medium. I think you can have some spectacle. I think you can have some fun with it, and I mean, yes, I'm excited for it. You can have both. You can have a mix. You can have the best of both worlds, almost. You know what I mean? Now, that being said, how are they going to do that with the Rona and still profit? Where you've got the NFL. The NFL is established enough. Major League Baseball is established enough. The National Hockey League, all of the big ones are established enough to play to empty stadiums and still do okay.
Yeah,
through television and everything else. Whereas, will the XFL have that same kind of fan base, being essentially in its second year? First year it failed. I mean,
yeah,
that's a hell of a risk. Now, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, actually, second year in a row this year. He's the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
He's got the coin to throw at it, especially with some business partners.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not what, he is definitely what people call business savvy. He's not horrible with his money. He's not dumb. But neither is Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is a hell of a businessman as well.
Yeah. But he's a showman, though. That's the thing. I think with Vince, he was much more of a showman. And I think The Rock is much more, I don't know, he's got more business savvy, I want to say. Like I don't know, maybe the Hollywood aspect of it, but also being Vince has always been the boss since he was born into the business as the boss. But The Rock coming from the street, then being the football player and playing in college, and then being the wrestler, and then being the actor, and then the producer, and I feel like he's got a better business sense to make it entertaining but keep the core of what it is. I don't know. I think so anyway.
I think it's kind of passing the torch in a way. You know what I mean? Because Vince McMahon is not horrible with money, or he would not be where he's at now. He's not a horrible businessman, or he wouldn't be as successful as he is. But it's kind of, times they are changing. And, what worked in the late 80s, early 90s doesn't not work today, but doesn't work as well. Where you're bringing in someone like, The Rock and whoever else, his ex-wife and all that. I mean,
yeah,
you could really make a case that they could do really, really well with it. But you're also throwing money at a sinking ship.
Yeah. Can you plug the holes to keep it afloat and make it, worth the whole thing? Yeah, I agree.
And it may be something too where you just scrap it for the year. Just try to build it up.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna rush to product. Like I don't see it next year there's an XFL. I definitely think this is something they're going to build up and release. Because remember, they gotta have to. There's no players. They've all been released, so they're gonna have to build all that up again. teams, cities, where to play, all that stuff has to be built up again. So I think it could be, let's say, 2 to 5 years before we see the Rock branded XFL. Plus, they might want to give, the stink of failure, give it some time to waft away, and then bring in the new XFL.
Yes and no. I agree with you to an extent, but I also say maybe just go balls to the wall. Well, you still got that infrastructure in place. Don't let it crumble. I mean, because
build off what's there.
Yep. Build off what's there. You've already got your cornerstones laid. And if you go to some of those people that played last year, or guys who just graduated from college this past year, or honestly, some of these guys that are college athletes that aren't going to be able to play this year. You know what I mean? Because a lot of some NCAA teams aren't playing. You could really get some amazing talent before they're drafted in the NFL, and maybe make it really, really good. And those other those teams, the cities and all that, I really fail to believe. I would be flabbergasted if they would not do anything they could to fill those stadiums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, is that the responsible thing? I don't know. We just had a fucking motorcycle rally. You know what I mean? We're doing all of these things that, a couple months ago would have been just.
And we're at the earliest, we're talking next football season. So you're talking September-ish of next year. So if the Rona is still a problem, then we got bigger problems than football.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah. So I don't know. All right, man. Well,
cool. I'm excited, dude. It's better than just fucking trashing it and being like, we're done with this shit.
Yeah, I tuned in, man, and I thought they were onto something this second time around. I really felt like they were finding their footing, fixing the problems that they had the first time. And I was like, oh man, these guys are serious. They're here to stay. And then everything shut down, and there it goes. So, anywho. That's our positive end for this show. We have things to look forward to in the future. Thank you guys, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget, next week we're doing a live giveaway. So,
yeah,
I was gonna say, make sure you're entered to win, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, you like the page. If you like the page, you're entered to win. So you should be good.
Yeah, and hey, all those people, if you're still listening, who just come in tonight.
Yeah,
we had some new listeners tonight.
Yeah, we did. We did have some new listeners tonight. I was actually surprised, man. One of them called in.
I'm not surprised, dude. We're awesome.
I mean,
but, if you are still listening, hopefully you are. Go ahead and go to the page, like it.
Facebook.com/Pop Culture Warrior, man. It's open for everyone. I always feel bad because I feel like people are scared to, like, I've had people reach out to me, hey, can I post this on your page? I'm like, yeah, it's for you guys. Like, I post stuff there just to post fun stuff to keep the conversations going, but like, it's for the community. That's what it's for. So by all means, if you see something cool, tag it, post it, share it, like it, retweet it, whatever I don't know, all the social media stuff. I'm not a social media guy, but I'm trying. So anyway, that being that, care to give us a roundup of what's coming up?
Well, yes, you have been listening to Pop Culture Warrior with God, I sound so fucking, that's dumb. Anyway.
You sounded sexy, man. I had a semi going, bro.
That sounded like I was trying to sell a used car or something. Anyway, back to the story. You've been listening to Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and Radar. And it's been Tuesday night. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we have nothing. It's day off. Donza, day of no scheduled activities. Thursday night, you got Sargent's time. Got the big Sargents over there. You got fucking Ice. It's not Spanky. Spanky's on vacation. I don't know who's filling in yet. No, it's not me. I don't think. It was Shipwreck. I don't know. I don't know. Is it you? You filling out Sargent's?
It's not me. It's not me. I should be on Sargent's time, man. I should be on Sargent's time.
You should do a Sargent's time. Sargent's time's fun.
I should.
Yeah.
I don't have any interesting views when it comes to that stuff, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, you do. You're in the Army. You got a view to it. Actually, there's some fucked up shit that went through. I'm sure they'll be talking about on Sargent's time. I'm not even going to get to it. This would be a good one to be on. Anyway, that's on Thursday night. Friday night, Donza. Saturday, Donza. Sunday, kicking it with Cause. Cause now, Team Old. Going to be doing some fucking old guy shit. They have some funny fucking stories on there. They really do. Good times. And fucking Al, hey, if you listen to Al in a bad mood and then are still in a bad mood by the end of it, there's something wrong with you. Sorry about it. Al's a fucking cool dude. And then Monday night, you got the Monday edition with Ice and Flash. talking about all things. Last night was election.
Mm-hmm.
Election 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. With Orange Man Bad and pedophile. So keep it up. Fucking Democrats, Republicans, Jesus Christ. Anyway, we won't get old radar started on that. Coming back to us on Tuesdays with Pop Culture Warrior.
That's right. That's right.
So, what's up?
Always a pleasure, sir. Next week, we hopefully I have scheduled a really cool guest. He's a director, small time director, indie filmmaker director, but has a really cool story, man, and how he kind of got into the game and what he's doing and some future work that I'm really excited to talk about. Think horror movie about a Sega Genesis. We're gonna get into it next week, so you see you guys there. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun conversation. I'm looking forward to it. So, with that, we will see. I need to sign off, man. Help me out, guys. If anybody's still listening, like, help me out. Come up with it. I need a sign off, like a thing to. Until next time, see you in this funny paper. I don't know, something stupid. I don't know. I need a sign off. Otherwise, hey, we'll see you next week, guys. Just be good to each other. See you next week. Shots, guys. How do I end the show again? I forget. Later.
You